What is up, everybody? Welcome to the stream. I'm Brayathorn. How are we doing this evening on this lovely Thursday evening? The day of Thor, probably. I'm muted. What do you mean muted? Oh, muted on Twitch. All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Thursday evening PC matchmaking stream. Yeah, too many things not automated still. I'm working on it. I'm getting it all to one button. To where my intro will do all the things. Actually, maybe I should just do it now. You know, accountability and all that. But I hope everybody's doing well this evening. And let's see, Observer of Thoughts on YouTube. What's going on? Alice, welcome. Good evening, Bray. 77 today. Alice, is that your birthday today? Is that what you're saying? If so, that's awesome. Happy freaking birthday. Happy birthday to you, Alice. And if it's not your birthday, you can just come back and look at this when it is. Samuel Smith, welcome as well. Happy to have you here. Over in Twitch land, what's going on? Peter, welcome. Alucard, what's going on? Dweezy, what's up? Welcome back. Glad to have you back. Sick PCs, so debugging the builder. Oh, okay, cool. So all the parts. So I'll talk about that in a minute. I briefly mentioned it on Tuesday. We'll talk more about that in a bit. Lycos45, welcome. And Braxton, welcome in. Exiled Wolf, how you doing? Holy crap, what is up? Horror Geek, how are you doing? Everybody, we got our friend the Horror Geek in the house over on Twitchland, in Twitchland. That is the Horror Geek from Beat the Geek, by the way, which was a great show. And it you know, just it's always funny to think about that you just come and hang out in the stream every now and then. But it's just I'm happy to have you here, and I hope you've been well. I hope all is well with you. It has been a while. Every other day is an unbirthday. I mean, it's supposed to. Yeah. Observer of Thoughts, thank you for being in both streams. I appreciate that. Over in YouTube and Twitch. Twitch stopped sending me notifications. I was so mad when I noticed. It's okay. No, don't worry about that. You know, like, what you've missed out on is me yelling about computers. A lot. It's the same. I am the same. I have not changed. I've maybe put on some pounds, that's for sure. Yeah, it's been good. Finally hit 100K over on the old YouTube. Hell yeah. Everybody go look up the Horror Geek on YouTube. Follow that, especially if you like horror movies. Just one of the profound voices in horror movies and culture, that culture on the whole. Absolutely. So if you like that stuff, you need to be following that YouTube channel and join that 100K strong fan base there. Yelling about computers is good. I've missed it. It's I'll do a little extra for you tonight. I'll do a little bit extra for you tonight just to welcome you back. Braxton said same here. I'm not sure what you were referring to, Braxton, but right on. The yelling about PCs or about Wind Waker's poor controls if it was on Sunday. I have never rage quit a Zelda game in my life. I wasn't wanting to start now, but here we are. Alice says, yes, thank you. I hope that you've had a wonderful birthday, and I'm so happy that you come and hang out with us, Alice. That is so cool. Z-Man Scar, what's going on? How you doing? How you been? Welcome. Thought there was more over here. More what? More? Well, we got 13 people so far. It's just the beginning of the stream. We just started. Alucard. You're here from the beginning. Sailor, welcome. How are you doing? Welcome in. Yeah, so I mean, look, I'm serious about my Zelda fandom, okay? I don't... it's not following me. Hold on. Oh, there we go. I don't mess around with my Legend of Zelda fandom, okay? And the thought that a game that I've been waiting to play for so long, The Wind Waker, sent me into so many fits of rage over the outdated and deplorable controls. It's sad. It is actually sad. capital, all 3 letters are capitalized with a period at the end. Sad. But I went over to playing a game that I adore, which is the Minish Cap, a GBA Legend of Zelda game. That's the thing about when it comes to timelessness, 2D games it's much easier for a 2D game, 2D pixel art game to be timeless than an early 3D game. Because yikes and oof. Both yikes and oof. And a sprinkling of darn it to taste. TJ Sparks, welcome. How's it going? How's the computer running? Sailor says, I've never rage quit a Zelda game either, but I did turn green once and leapt 1 mile from my house. What? Sailor, I feel like once I understand what you're saying, I'm going to be upset with myself for not getting it. Bone Shock, welcome. How's it going? Glad to see you. Exiled Wolf, I did say hi to you, I believe. Yes. So, what Sick PCs was talking about, it's already gone. It's up there in Narnia up here. Okay. So there has been something missing ever since. If there's been something missing in our streams ever since Alexandra PCs had to ditch their configurator, which was a very good, straightforward configurator for a solid boutique build. And, of course, boutique builds mean you're investing some of your PC budget into the buying experience, the ownership experience, the attention to detail on the build, quality of the build, all that stuff, and the service and the warranty, all those things. You spend a little extra on that, meaning less goes towards your parts, but you're going in understanding this when you select a boutique build. We haven't had that feel for a long time. And I've been kind of getting that back using the Sick PCs one. And so Mikey and I got together, had a conversation about this. He had an idea. He's like, what? Because there's parts that you like, that you recommend all the time that I don't carry. What if we make you a special Sick PCs configurator just for you and for the PC matchmaking streams that will feature the parts that you want and that you like to recommend? And I was all over that. I was like, hell yeah. So we're still working some things out. I think like what the code does is changing a little bit, right? It may cover shipping now is what it does, which actually the last time we did one, the person who I recommended it to came back and said, by the way, the discount code covered shipping. So it's the same thing, essentially. Except that if you do a lower priced PC, it may be more of a discount that way, actually. I would have to do the math on that, and I'm not going to. Me and math don't get along. Math and I don't get along. This is why I like computers. They do the math for you. Anyway, so that is not done yet. Mikey is still debugging it. But the parts that I requested, I haven't yet picked all the motherboards because y'all know, where do I really get into the weeds? It's on motherboards. That's where I really get into the nitty-gritty details because it's too often that is overlooked, especially for a streaming PC. And as I've mentioned to you guys before, 45 to 50, about 45% of people who fill out the form want to stream. Whether they want to do it seriously or try it out or just stream to Discord, they want to stream. And when you're doing that, I pay extra attention to the motherboard, and I have narrowed down the motherboards that I like for streaming on both platforms in the higher end and the mid-range, sort of. It's mid-high end, mid-range, high end. But I haven't really found like B850 and B650, being AMD and Intel respectively. I haven't nailed those down for budget builds in that regard. So that's the stuff I still got to figure out. Also, we added the King 95 to the cases. Mikey, I think once you build in that thing, you're going to be like, yeah, I'm putting this on my main configurator. It comes out looking so good. The case is so solid, and it's fantastic. I mean, you know, when I did my when I did a thing where I did a collab build and I got to pick all the parts for the higher end build, I chose the King 95 Pro for a reason. Yeah. Dweezy said, my shipping was more than the discount, but I chose overnight 1-day delivery. Figured less chance of damage on airplane versus road. That's potential, Dweezy, potentially. Hard to say. So okay, so you did that. Yeah, we'll have to work out the kinks. May just have to stick to a percentage because of the way Shopify calculates shipping cost. We're looking into that, and we'll choose something that makes sense with your permission, obviously. Well, yeah, collaboration. I mean, yeah. We'll reach agreement on whatever. The main thing is, it's just got to be good for whoever. Like, it needs to be a solid discount, or I'm gonna be feeling icky about getting, because here's the thing, guys. If you don't already know this, you must be ultra lurking, because I talk about this all the time. But the way that this works, and the reason I tell y'all, you don't have to drop a ton of subs, or you don't have to do. You can if you want to. You don't have to though, because the way that this works is, I have like a dozen or more discount codes with multiple system integrators, and that way there's no one SI that I always go to, right? Unless there's one that's just beating everybody else on deals in their category, high volume or boutique or whatever. At that moment, it has to be the best deal for and the most appropriate for the person I'm helping. But the codes are there to provide a discount while you're also supporting what I do, instead of you paying extra money out of pocket to support what I do. It's the best, because I feel guilty when you guys do gifted subs or drop a bunch of bits or donos and stuff. It makes me feel weird, because I'm getting to talk about PCs, for one thing, for a living, and that makes me very happy. And the other thing is, when you use those coupon codes, it does help me out. It supports the channel, and it helps me continue to do this. It makes it sustainable to where you're not getting charged for help. There are tech content creators who will do something like a parts list for DIY or things like that. And I've seen some charge over $200 for 30 minutes on a call. And their expertise you can save more than that on your PC if you were going to overspend or whatever. So it can make sense, but instead I do it for free, because PCs are expensive, and you should be putting that money towards, instead of you spending extra to get my help, and not to where you're spending nothing and gaining nothing, you're actually going the other way and saving extra because you came here. It really is. Come on, there we go. All right. It really is it worked out beautifully. However, we're being pretty transparent with, me and Mikey here talking about how it's going to work with them. It just needs to be a solid enough discount to where I feel good about it being something that feeds back into me doing this, continuing to do this. Sailor, a link to the past caused you to Hulk out, to rage quit. Well, you said you never rage quit a Zelda game, but you did turn green and left a mile from your house. Okay. What happened in Link to the Past to cause that? I guess that's what you mean by hulking out. Robert Fixit, welcome in. Ducky, what's going on? Yo, anyone good with DDR5 overclocking? I cannot get my OC stable. I have overclocked RAM before, which is why I avoid it, because I hate it. You generally want to make sure, Ducky, that if you went with AMD, that you get RAM that has a compatible OC profile. If it's DDR5, then it would be Expo. So you got to make sure you got RAM that has an Expo profile. XMP can sometimes work. Stability can be an issue, and sometimes it will just not work. It won't show up. So you want to make sure that you get RAM that lists that it has Expo memory profiles. That could be your problem. I just set that up and I walk away. Whatever minuscule gains I can get from overclocking RAM beyond that, I ain't interested. Stability is more important to me, because I do work on these PC, the PC that I use. What's up, Ghost Poner? How's it going? I may be bottlenecking my CPU with a combo of the 4070 Super and the 14700F. But as far as I can tell, anytime you really use those cores with the 4090, 5090 cards. Ghost Poner, are you gaming at 1440p or higher? If you are, you're probably not utilizing that CPU that much. What you need to do is you can run something like the Steam now has an overlay that shows you like CPU usage. And if your usage of your CPU is at 100%, yeah, that's your bottleneck. If it's at 30%, it's not your bottleneck. So it's very, very easy to validate that. But if you're gaming at 1440p or higher, only specific games will still engage the CPU in any significant way. Specific games that are CPU bound at any resolution. Some real-time strategy games are like that. They're calculating a lot of math as all the units go and do the thing, right? Then you have things like, I've heard many times, Call of Duty, Rust, games like that. Very specific shooters are CPU dependent at any resolution. Fortnite can be, I believe, but not as much so as like Call of Duty. This is the understanding that I've gotten. I don't play the games myself, so it's probably research I need to do there. And now if you're gaming at 1080p, you're going to be using your CPU more. What everyone wins? Yes, Dweezy, absolutely. What is overclocking RAM? Overclocking your RAM is so there is something called the JEDEC speeds for your RAM. There's really two main things to look at when it comes to RAM performance. Okay, there's your frequency, how many times per second it cycles. Okay, how many times per second data does data things. Okay, and then there's latency, the delay between when it's supposed to do the thing and when it actually does the thing. Not just how many times per second, but the delay before it does the thing. Okay. Gaming usually benefits from lower latencies, and certain productivity tasks benefit more from higher frequencies. Okay. That's very generalized, and there are going to be exceptions to that in a way. But still. Now, if you're looking at something like AMD, AMD wants your RAM to be at a specific frequency because it's highly dependent upon memory synchronization. It has to be synchronized with that frequency. So it's like if you have two people clapping, right? And this person's clapping like, and the other one's like, it's not gonna work. That doesn't work. If both are clapping in unison, that is one-to-one synchronization. So that Ryzen needs that. Intel, less sensitive to that. But that's why I generally, with AMD builds, I will go with DDR5 6000 with cast latency of 30. There's math involved. We're not getting into that. But you want an absolute latency of like 10 nanoseconds, I think, is what you want. But it's more about the frequency than the latency with AMD. I think Battlefield uses a lot of CPU because destructible environment. If you're talking about Battlefield 6 Rutu, that just came out. I know nothing about it. FPSHub.org for the RAM overclock. It's paid, but they're experts. Interesting. Yeah, I don't think it's really worth it to overclock your RAM. I would rather just, you're going to get more gains out of spending 5 minutes in MSI Afterburner tweaking your GPU than spending 3 hours overclocking your RAM and trying to get it stable. Are there exceptions to that? Probably. But in general, tuning your GPU is the #1 thing that's going to get you better gaming performance. And it might not even be that noticeable, but you're going to talk about more of a difference with the most important component for gaming, the GPU. And at 1080p, also if you have if you're doing pro gaming esports stuff and you have a 9800X3D and you're gaming at 1080p, setting PBO on for that 9800X3D can make a big difference. So yeah. Okay, so I got knocked off the top level fighting one boss for 1 hour straight. Ah, yes, in the Tower of Hera. That's right. That is an annoying fight. It is an annoying fight. It is. The movement in that fight, and it's early on in the game too, ish. It's a kind of earlier. It's in the first third of the game, because the Dark World kind of takes up 2/3 of the game. Then that's yeah. Link to the Past is one of my all-time favorite, not just Zelda games, but video games. So I do know it well. I used to game at 1080p, but 1440 hits the sweet spot on what I'm using for desktop screen. Yeah, 1440p. Don't worry about your CPU. I promise you. Depending on the game you're playing, If you start up that Steam overlay to see on the top of the screen what your CPU usage is, it's probably not going to break over 35% at 1440p. I'm just throwing a number out there. It very well could, but it's not going to be over 50% for sure. I don't think it's worth it to overclock in general for the 5 to 10% FPS boost you get in most instances. I used to like overclocking. I wasn't like amazing at it. I'm afraid of Alan Splave hearing me say that, because then he's gonna be like, all right, let's see what you got. And I'm gonna be like, I got nothing. It's been years since I've messed with overclocking on my 4790K. All right, don't even. I'm out of the loop on that. Abby, by the way, what's up? Abby Sebas, welcome. It's been a while since you said, hey, I'm sorry, I got too into the nerdy stuff. You know what happens when I get too into the nerdy stuff. Well, the thing I just said is what happens. No worries. Thank you. If the PS5 Pro gives any hints on where the future of console gaming is going to be like... Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Bray, would you ever switch on the MSI AI engine? No, Ben, I would not. I don't know enough about it, Ben. But what's up? Welcome to the stream. It's worth testing, I'm sure. Like, I'm not anti-AI all like completely. I'm not completely anti-AI. The only place I'm anti-AI is in the creative space, when it's not being used as the tool it's meant to be. AI should be a tool for complementing human creativity and facilitating it, right? I use it I've been using it in Photoshop and Adobe Premiere Pro for years. There are AI tools that have been in there for years, okay? Are they large language models? No. It's not like that. It's not the same thing. But it's one of those things where everything's over-categorized into AI. But I've been using tools like that for years, and it aids me in my creativity rather than replacing my creativity. So that's where I'm against AI, is in the creative space. It can be fun, but there's too much stealing going on still to this day, and that's crazy. And no regulation because of lobbying now. Yeah. Tech Blacksmith, welcome. How you going? You doing all right? It does say it does real-time system adjustments. Not sure about that. Yeah, Ben, ever since everything that was going on with how motherboards were handling Intel 13th and 14th gen CPUs, I want my settings set. I don't want anything being like, you know what, let's throw extra power into this. Nah. I'm not going to notice the difference. It's just a psychological thing. It's a placebo. In effect, it is effectually a placebo, because it's one of those things where, like, if you didn't have it on, you wouldn't know. It's on. Maybe you're seeing an improvement. You don't know. Just leave it off. Those things are for shareholders, Ben. The AI engine is for MSI shareholders. That's what that's for. They're like, where's our AI? All of our buddies at the golf club, or at the country club, they've got AI stocks and AI stuff. MSI, where's our AI stuff? Oh, well, you know, the AI engine. God, go make something called the AI engine real quick. Yeah, oh, we're all over it. We got it. Big number, get bigger. AI narrators in online scary stories. AI narration can be genuinely funny, even when it doesn't mean to be. But there is scary stuff going on with AI voice, imitation. I have a lot of recording of my voice on the internet, and it could very well be that at some point, someone uses AI to take a clip of me to match my mouth to words they typed into something that makes my voice. There are literally hundreds of hours of me talking on the internet. And me being I'm someone who's like, everyone is welcome here. I'm generally understanding of folks of all walks of life. I want everybody to have a good time and live their life the best they can. Someone might be like, but what if he wasn't like that? What if he said this stuff? Look at this guy. He's white. He's bald. He might say some of these things. Done. Canceled. Oops. Yeah, it's pretty scary. Not going to lie. Good point. AI equals money. True. What's up, Zeno? Welcome. Bright check Discord. It'll take about 30 seconds. Just give me the okay if you're good with it. Okay. All right. Just a quick message out to you guys. If you're looking for help to get a PC, a pre-built PC, or you're going to be doing a DIY build, but you need help with a parts list. If you're watching on YouTube, it's very easy. Go to the description. The first thing in the description is a link to a form that you fill out to get in line to get help. If you're watching on Twitch, Stream Elements is posting a paragraph every now and then that says, want help getting the right PC for your budget and needs? Fill out this form. And there's a link at the end of that paragraph. Click that link, fill out the form. It gets you in line to get help. We do have plenty of people right now who filled out the form before and have not come by to get help yet. They might come in and they would get priority because they've been on the list longer, but you need to get yourself on there if you want to get some help. So please do that. Samuel Smith says, at Brigathorn, I'm on the list. That's the next thing. If you are on the list and waiting for help, I will not automatically know that. You need to inform me. Just like Samuel Smith did over on YouTube. On YouTube, you do have to type it exactly like that. At Brigathorn, I'm on the list. On Twitch, it's easier. If you're following the Twitch channel, which is free, you get free emotes. And the one you want to use says, I'm on the list. Just pop that into chat, and then I'll know. But Sam, I will go ahead and mark you as here. There we go. And that means you're first in line as it stands right now. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Mikey, I'm cool with that. As long as you are, like, that has to be the case. Because that's solid. That's gonna be really solid. Mystic Tryhards, what's going on? I'm trying to save up for Shroud's PC. Okay, so you're talking about the Shroud Edition PC from Main Gear. I did take a look at that. I made a short about it. I don't know if you saw that. It is a really nice PC. The price, not quite as nice. Not quite as nice, gonna be honest. AI narrations and voices are just creepy and concerning to me. Yeah, every time I see a YouTube short or, I don't know. I don't go on TikTok, but I know a lot of TikToks get put as YouTube shorts. When I hear the AI voice, I skip. I don't like it. Like, whoever's making that content, just talk into a microphone. On your phone, doesn't matter. Just talk. Record that, put it on there. All you got to do. And, oh, well, I'm bad at it. Well, guess what? Everybody who starts doing something is bad at it at first. Like, nobody is born being good at narrating or dictation or talking into a camera or a microphone. Nobody is good at that right away. You got to be bad at something before you can be good at it. I can't do that. It seems to me as such a low effort thing. I'm not for it. I don't like it. Alucard says, I use Copilot at work for a little test. Currently trying to get Cursor to work on a personal PC. Okay. What does it do, Alucard? Does it curse at you? Ben says, it's been good for formatting meeting agendas, etc. Not sure what to use it for. Ben, if you're trying to use it for productivity stuff, try getting outlines. I've asked it because I have a laptop I'm reviewing, and I'm like, I don't review laptops. So, okay, ChatGPT, give me an outline for a laptop review. And then it's not the review. It doesn't give me any answers. It's just a basic outline of what I should probably cover. I've watched laptop reviews, but not that many because I'm not interested that much in laptops. So that makes it a problem when I try to start covering something else. But yeah, those ones are making bank right now. Talking about the AI voice ones? Yeah, probably. And they can a lot of times mispronounce words too. Yeah, it's annoying. I needed to write Excel formulas. Ben, that's a great use case for it. It's a coding agent with several AI models built into it that can edit a whole code base worth of files at one time. It's unbelievable. Cursor. Interesting. Okay. Work only lets us use Copilot. Cursor's another one that was recommended by a friend of mine. It's supposed to help with coding for a website. Interesting. Okay. Sounds like something I could probably use if I wanted to do stuff with like the form or something like that. If to get some certain stuff, data from this spreadsheet, things like that. This is not a very complicated spreadsheet that we have. Well, right here, it is not that complicated, but parsing it. I mean, I used to be decent with Excel, not anymore. All right, so I don't see any new entries yet here in the form. So if you guys are wanting help, get in there. Now, Samuel Smith, you did say you're here and you're on the list, and that is correct. You're right there. We're going to get started on yours in just a couple minutes. I just want to make sure that we don't have someone who entered the form earlier, who's not listening when I say, hey, let me know you're here, because I don't automatically know. Like, imagine if I was just sitting there looking at a list of users in chat and cross-referencing to the form, all stream log. It don't work like that. I used to do like that, and I'm never again. No, thank you. Looking around for tutorials on it to practice. The only message I got from almost every tutorial was to buy a Mac for it. Alucard, I mean, you could sell a PC to get a Mac, because you can get yourself a Mac Mini base model for like, I don't know, $700 or something, brand new. GG Simple Green. Reviewing a laptop is just getting past the proprietary nature of them. Otherwise, it's a PC with a battery and a monitor attached, and a keyboard and a trackpad. And there's also, how do I convey the build quality without just bending the thing? Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. What I want to know is, like, what would I want to know? And not that really translates completely to the viewing audience that's going to be interested in laptops, but it can give me a slightly unique voice in reviewing laptops. And what I would want to know is upgradability, for one thing. Upgradability is a massive priority to me. I/O. Those two things, main issues for me. I/O and upgradability. Of course, your screen is important, but I have literally traveled with a portable monitor and just used that as my primary, because it's, it was better at the time than the laptop I had. This one that I took with me to Computex has a better monitor, but I'm so used to multiple displays. There's no going back for me. Save yourselves. Warm Eagle, what's with the Bueller? Bueller. It should be known, says Sailor, that we have real-life companies named Cyberdyne and Umbrella. Shh, they could be watching us right now, all right? Sailor, don't do it. But thinking about selling a PC for a decent Mac Mini. Knowing me, I would want a higher level one to make sure it does what I need without it being a bottleneck. I mean, sure. And, we're used to getting something base level Alucard and upgrading it over time. Like, we've done that. And you can't really do that with a Mac. Thanks, Tim. Appreciate it. Good job keeping that going. I guess I should say Steve. Thanks, Steve Jobs, for having it to where you don't want people opening up. Who would be like, the inside of our machines needs to be just as beautiful as the outside, but I don't want anybody going in there unless they're on the payroll here. Okay, that's dumb, but okay. When you were talking about how you don't want to be calling out for people in chat, fair enough. That is what happens when I just start yapping. I lose the context for some of the chats I'll put out there. Okay. I guess we're going to get started with Samuel Smith. I hope this isn't the only one we do tonight, but that's not how it's been. And it also looks like we're going to be doing a surprise, a Micro Center build. So, Sam, if I could say Sam, I don't know how I feel like when I say like the full name, I feel like I'm someone in Avatar or something, like saying someone's Jake Sully. Yeah. So Sam, if I can call you that, Are you looking to get your PC built for you at Micro Center? Or did you just put, yes, you live near one and this is the one, but you'd rather get a pre-built from a pre-built company rather than Micro Center? I'm about an hour outside of Fairfax and their Micro Center. Would you rather just have your PC shipped to you by a system integrator? I want to go look at what Mikey added to the. I mean, I should know what's already in there, but let's go take a look at that. Be right here. Where is it? There. Okay. Sorry, it's that your little icon that shows up, Mikey, next to your link is matching the background, so I don't always spot it. What I should be doing is looking for the one that doesn't show up, and I'll be like, okay, that's where Sick PCs is at. They're near the top. So let me see. It was going to be custom builder. They will build it for me. Yeah. No, I know. I know how Micro Center works. I do a lot of those. There it is. There it is, everybody. Both colors in the King 95 Pro. I'm already happier. We got to go through each one to... sure. Now, I specifically requested just Zen 5 and Core Ultra 200S CPUs. Arrow Lake CPUs. So just do one of those. Bam. 265K, my favorite. Bam. And the Montech Hyperflow coolers. Did I put that in the form? I don't remember. We do have our Steve as Tech Jesus. Would not be surprised another Steve could be Tech Satan. Wow. Alucard. Thanks for the lurk, bud. Thank you. Okay, I did put that in the form. Okay, go me. So there we go. Matching white Montech cooler. And I mentioned this plenty of times already. But oh, yes. Yes. My favorite Intel motherboard right here. Look at that thing. This is what I put in the H6 Flow build. And it came out beautiful. Okay, so I don't know if they have the silver Z5. Wait, hold on. This is Z5. So this is Z5 Neo because of the Expo picture, Expo icon there, but it just doesn't say Neo there. Okay. And then throw in one of these guys. A little expensive on the drive, but 9100, 2 terabyte. Actually, not bad. That's such a good price, actually. And a 5070 Ti. Don't need any fans additional, so we'll just pick that. That's down here. Oh, didn't mean to do that. And there you go. Damn, that Astral liquid cooled. Good Lord, that thing is a monster price-wise. Yeah, so, okay. Yeah, no, I do know. I've been doing Micro Center builds for years. I know they'll build it for you. Now, let me ask you this. Sam, what is the actual maximum budget for your build? Now, I asked you to put a range in there, and I think you chose, what, 2,500 to 3,000? So within that, is it 2,750? What's the actual max number? Ben says, I have a 265K. Good to hear it's Bray's fave. YouTube Tech Reviews did not rate it. Well, I did make a video talking about how it is the best out of Arrow Lake. And when it dropped in price down to like $270, $280, there's no better deal right now. Most people that are just now getting into PCs, you go to the Steam hardware survey, most people are still at 1080p. But that's legacy stuff. They're just still using that. They're also using 1660 Supers, right? Most people now should be aiming for 1440p or higher resolution, usually around 1440p. And the CPU is just not as important for 95% of games. It's not as important on the CPU when you're playing at 1440p or higher. So, but for doing stuff other than gaming, it leaves a 9800 X3D in the dust for like $200 cheaper. It's amazing. It matches the 9950 X3D in Premiere Pro video editing. It's insanely good. It is crazy good. The 9950 X3D is almost $700. And it's getting matched by a CPU that is somewhere between 1/3 and half of the price. Max budget 2800. There we go. I was close. All right. Okay, looking for a black build. This is for gaming, streaming, content creation, video editing, and music production. So, Sam, here's what this tells us here. What's up, FGN? How's it going? Force Gaming Network. Hope you're doing well. I game a 1440 and recently upgraded from a 2060 to a 5070 Ti. You picked my favorite GPU too, Ben. Look at that. Now that you can get 5070 Ti's in some circumstances for around MSRP, it's tops. Like 5080 doesn't do a lot more than 5070 Ti. They got the same VRAM. I always look at video editing because I do video editing, right? But video editing performance is just about equal, except in one factor, which is GPU graphics, GPU effects. And it's perfectly doable on the 5070 Ti. So anyways, it's a fantastic GPU, fantastic CPU. You got the killer combo right there. Okay. So this is what this tells me, Sam, okay? When you say streaming and music production, that means more money is going towards the motherboard than you would do with just a gaming PC. You need fantastic I/O for that. You need a lot of USB ports to be plugging in your streaming devices, your Stream Deck, your capture cards, or your webcam, whatever you're going to be using that is USB. Is going to be a lot of it, usually after a while, once you've been streaming for a while. When you do anything for a while, you tend to want to make those things go more smoothly and be more easier. More easier is more better. So you end up getting, all right, I'm going to get a Stream Deck. You know what? I'm going to get the Stream Deck pedals so that hands-free, I can do stuff and, you know, it looks cool on stream. The pedals are great. Cool. That's another USB right there. I need an audio interface for my microphone and for my music production stuff. So that's another high-speed USB port. And over and over and over. Like, so your motherboard becomes critically important in those use cases. Plus, PCIe cards can become very important too, like a PCIe capture card, an internal capture card, some sound cards, some devices that are audio interfaces or various things for music production require that you have a specific card inside your PC when you get into really professional music production, that kind of stuff, and you need that. But once you get into professional music production, you start looking at stuff like Threadripper workstations because they have so many PCIe lanes and PCIe slots. But if you're doing it on an amateur level, you want to at least be able to add in one or two things. So when you talk about video editing, though, video editing requires CPU cores and RAM capacity. 64 gigs minimum is what I recommend when someone says the two words video and editing. 96 is better and not as expensive as it used to be. Now, you did say, though, right here, the question that is, it's a letter D right there, but it is, do you plan on upgrading your CPU over time? And you said yes. So let's talk about that real quick. Sam, you're thinking in a few years, a couple generations later, you're going to want to upgrade your CPU to something with higher performance. And you're going to do that yourself, probably, or you're going to have Micro Center do it. Either way. That generally means that the better value here, which would be Intel, 265K, 20-core CPU, is not really an option. Because in a few years, they're going to be on another socket already. In like next year, they're bringing out a new socket already. So that's not the right option here. Unfortunately, it's a great way to save money and get amazing performance, especially in video editing. But if you're going to be not sticking with that same CPU for the long haul, then you can't really go Intel. They don't really support that. So we're going to go AMD. But what all this means, though, is that you're not going to be looking at something like a 5080 for your GPU. And that would be wasteful anyway, because a 5070 Ti does most of what a 5080 does. So what we're going to do right now is, or what we can do as I go along, I'm going to go ahead and open up Micro Center. Can y'all imagine if I did do a commission thing with Micro Center and they made it retroactive? Like I could retire. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah, because I don't have any kind of coupon code or anything with Micro Center. We just do these. But that's fine. So let's talk about the CPU. So I have a thought for this, for the CPU, okay? Bear with me. I don't think that you should get a 9950X or a 9950X 3D. And here is my reasoning for that. Rurutu, that's a great reference, and I choose not to be offended by that because Saitama is amazing. Intel LGA 1954 new socket for Nova Lake. I remember when, and I saw this on Gamers Nexus, Rurutu, they said in the leak 1854. Remember how I had to crash out on stream and I was like, 3 more pins? Really? Yeah, apparently it's 1954, so it's 103 more pins. That's a little more reasonable for needing a new socket. Anyway, so here's my thought process. Check this out. So if we go to this here, where am I going? I'm going to this. I didn't mean to do that. Hold on. Let me do this here. And do it this way. So this is Puget Bench. And if you're looking at content creation, which you are, Sam, right? By the way, what kind of video editing are we talking about? How serious about the video editing side of things are you? And what kind of software do you use or do you plan on using? But code Popeye will probably be a better discount. Why Popeye? I have like normal forearms. I don't know what you're talking about with the Popeye thing. Okay, so this is Puget Bench. And if you're looking at content creation, these are the charts you should be paying attention to. Puget Bench is regarded as pretty much the standard when it comes to running tests on content creation benchmarks. Probably Adobe Premiere. And just starting the video editing journey, so a newbie to it. I hope you end up loving it. We need more people who actually really, really enjoy video editing. I just do it because I have to. I do not enjoy it. My brain does not like sitting there and staring at that to just cut down footage of myself. I don't like doing that, but I got to do it sometimes. Anyways, so let's go to Premiere Pro. Now, looking at the pricing, if we go to CPUs, the top video editing CPU for AMD is the 9950X 3D. It is $670, and it is right here. It is beat out by the cheaper by about $100, 285K. Intel Core Ultra 9, 285K. Intel's got QuickSync. It's always going to outperform AMD in video editing. AMD was supposed to have Smart Access Video, and I never saw that coalesce. So, okay. Oh, Popeye versus Saitama Death Battle. Oh, okay. I didn't see that one. I saw the Goku one. NVIDIA are so AI obsessed, I wonder if they will even bother to make 60 series graphics cards. Ben, they're also very egotistical, and they don't want anyone to step into their territory of They own like 95% of the graphics card market for consumers. Why would they walk away from that? It's still money. But it is true that whatever silicon goes into their 90 class card could go into their AI solutions. And that is an opportunity cost. That's why you don't see that many of those available at launch. Anyways, so the 9950X3D is $670. The gaming performance on that thing is fantastic because when you turn on a game, half of the cores shut down and it becomes a 9800X3D, right? That's called core parking. However, this third one that is almost identical in score to the 9950X3D is the Intel Core Ultra 7 265K. This is the one that I am saying is my favorite CPU right now. And here's why. The performance is pretty much at parity with the 9950X3D, which is a $670 CPU. And the 265K is $260, not $670. That is a little more than a third of the price. So instead of syncing, you still, if you want to upgrade your CPU in a few years, you still got to go AMD. But what do? Well, maybe don't upgrade it in a few years, because you see, there is about to be, according to some pretty reliable leakers on Twitter, X, whatever, that have been shown to be correct when a product did finally launch. AMD is finally looking to have more than 8 cores per chiplet. They're looking to up that number by 50% and make it 12 cores per CCD, meaning the 9950X3D is going to be the 11950X3D, I guess is what it might be called, whatever they're going to do. They're never count on AMD to name things well, okay? It's not going to happen. Well, first off, they may be coming out with a 9950X3D that has 3D cache on both CCDs. That might happen first. But the next generation of CPUs that is supposed to be socket AM5 may have 24 cores, 48 threads on the top of the line Ryzen 9. So instead, you go with something like a 9700X for, again, about a third of the price, and you're just getting into video editing. Let that ride. You're good. You're fine. Okay? Just rock that for a while. And if you're gaming at 1440p, which your form does tell me, it'll be fine at 1440p. Rock that for a while. Invest more in the foundation of your build. The motherboard, the RAM, the storage, the GPU. We're going to talk about the GPU. But invest more in that right now. And then when the next generation comes out in maybe less than a year, grab that Ryzen 9 chip when it comes out. Before I moved to VA, I live in the Los Angeles area. One of my neighbors was an editor and worked on shows like 24. Oh, sick. Very cool. Baruchi says, so 9700X? That's what I'm saying, yes. If I did not have a 14900K 5070 Ti build, I would look into making a 265K build. Alucard, it's not that unattainable, at least. Although I know you want to invest in a Mac Mini or something, which I would love to do that myself, actually. But just to mess with it and test it. And probably try to get back into music production with it. I do have reason for that, but I just don't have the time. 265K being at the price that it's at, it is not an insane investment to grab that and a motherboard. It's not bad. It can still be cost prohibitive in general, but yeah. So my advice, again, is to just, for now, go with the 8-core, 16-thread 9700X. Not even the X3D, not even the 9800X3D, because that is $430, normally $480. Okay, so it's not. The price has dropped, which is nice. But something like the 7700X for $230, or the 9700X for $289, is going to do just fine for now. And here's a bonus: if you're doing content creation, you're going to be doing photo editing to do thumbnails. Well, check this out. What is the #1 CPU for Photoshop? The 9700X. It beats the 3 times more expensive 9950X3D, which is crazy. Well, it's not 3 times more expensive for a $290 CPU versus a $670. But you know what I mean. Almost 3 times as much. And then when the next generation comes out, grab that Ryzen 9. And this 9700X, you can sell it on the used market. You can save it for like a HTPC build or something, or for a secondary build, for a secondary streaming PC just for streaming, that kind of stuff, if you ever wanted to do that. We're building you a machine right now that can do the gaming and the streaming on one machine. The 9700X can 100% do that. Yo, what's going on? Skeeter Gaming coming in with 200 biddies. Thank you for the bit, Skeeter. And welcome to the stream. How you doing, bud? Thank you for the bits. I appreciate it. After the Ryzen name gets hard to say, what do you think and what would call their next lineup? After all, Ryzen name has been AMD's saving grace. I just use a joke with my friends. Ryzen has risen. Sonic, what's going on? Welcome. Sounds like a plan. Awesome. Glad you're on board with that. Here's the next part. Yeah, I mean, they had it down. My problem with how they were doing Ryzen was that they were skipping digits, right? Like Intel had this right when they were doing the generations. They messed up their own naming scheme. But when they were doing 10th gen, 11th gen, well, 11th gen was not a good situation in general, but 12th gen, 13th gen, all that stuff, that made sense. And then they screwed that all up. That's about to happen with AMD, I think. I don't think they're going to want to say 11800X3D. So they're probably going to change it up, go with something 3-digit. They like to copy the homework of their competitors. So they might just go with like, what is it? 980, what is it? Or like 280X3D, right? 280X3D. Or 260X3D, 265X3D, whatever. 285X for the 24 core, whatever, dude. They're... Did I do my math wrong? I did my math wrong. I said 24 cores. No, it would be 32 cores, 64 threads. No. 12 and 12. 20, I was right the first time. 12 and 12 is 24. I was correct. Okay. Anyways. Still don't like Intel's Core Ultra name. Yeah, exactly. Lovely. More confusing names for us consumers. I mean, look at the 9070 XT. Hey, AMD, if you were going to copy my homework, you were supposed to rewrite it so they don't know it was mine. Yeah. Problem right now is that AMD actually needs a competitor to compete against them right now. The problem, Alucard, is the fact that no one is pointing out the freaking 285K like the 265K like they should be. They're doing it so cautiously. Like, you know, it might actually be a good... Are you kidding me? It's an amazing deal. It is the best deal in CPUs right now. There's nothing that comes close. Not one thing. And, well, I don't want my fans to get mad at me because I said other stuff. Well, maybe you shouldn't have said that stuff. Just because the Core Ultra 200S wasn't at the top of the gaming charts. It's not going to be. It doesn't have 3D V-Cache yet. Or whatever they're going to call it. But, like, you're just doing 1080p gaming benchmarks. Of course you are. You have to do that to show differences. You need to be more clear to your viewers that, hey, if you're at 1440p or higher, only certain games are going to see the benefits of any X3D chip. And that's why it's overrated. It says nobody, which they should say. There is competition for AMD. The perception is that there's not, because everybody just freaking follows the Pied Piper on this crap. And those who should know better act like they don't. And maybe they don't know better. Maybe they don't. It's like, oh, we need competition. And there is some, but we're going to suppress it to get views. I quit. I'm out. Okay. Crashed out a little early on stream.
I'm getting too old for this.
Poopy John, what's going on? Hey Barry, how you doing tonight? How does it look like I'm doing? Okay. Woosah, woosah. Oh, yeah. Anyways. Now, Intel does deserve crap for firing so many people. Their CEO shouldn't be CEO. And the whole thing about having this socket for one full generation plus a refresh sucks. And it's like it was already bad with just 2 generations per socket plus maybe a refresh. That was already not good and wasteful, and bad for consumers that want to upgrade their stuff, which you guys might not think that there's many people that want to do that, but most do. In fact, my numbers show that in my forum. At least the people who watch my channel do. And that's not your average demographic, I suppose. But anyway, when it comes to what's a good deal, what's competitive, nothing competes with the 265K, period. Unless you say yes to wanting to upgrade your CPU down the line. And in that case, I got no argument against that. Intel's got no argument against that. They gave up on that. Anyways, we're selecting 9700X. Let's go ahead and move on. Sorry. Motherboard. This is where we get to have some fun. Now, my favorite motherboard for this is actually not gonna, it doesn't color match, and they might not even, wait, what's the location? I forgot. I got to pick the right location. 1 second. It is the Fairfax, Virginia. Okay. I got to change that and make sure that we have all this stuff in stock. Fairfax, Virginia is going to be at the bottom because VA. There we go. Throw on 117 HD on max settings and play the Zerker at 6PC's stress test. I don't have the PC anymore. Be here door tomorrow. Damn, Mikey. Holy crap. Look at that. That's some turnaround, dude. So you made a PC meant to... Wait, what? Aura farmed? What? I'll say this. When I was configuring Windows... Where was this? Why can't I... Oh, when I was configuring Windows with the one I just built for Dweezy, it felt really snappy. So you made a PC meant to Aura farm? Do I look like Piccolo to you? That's great. I like that whole conversation. I enjoy that. I'm the best. What do you want me to say? No, I don't know. Keep it up. That's all I'm going to say. Mike, at some point, like, here's the thing. When you do a good job, this community recognizes that. And that's what happened with Alexander PCs. They did an amazing job and people jumped on it. So what we need from you is, if we're getting to the point where it's beyond your capacity to deliver PCs at the pace that you would like, you do need to let me know so we can sort of balance that out. That's the only concern that I would have. And that's when it's like, let me, bring more people on to do builds, train them up, do all that stuff, that kind of stuff. That happened with Alexander PCs. They had to move into a new building, okay, and hire more people because of that. Okay, so the motherboard I like the most for... Oh, no, not that one. I'm thinking about the wrong one. Okay, let's see here. Not the Carbon because of the bifurcation thing, which sucks. It's a Gigabyte motherboard. X870E Aorus Elite or Aorus Master. Now, there is a flaw to this motherboard, and I don't like it, but it's not as bad as the one that I was really calling out the other day. So let's take a look at this motherboard. Okay. The downside to this motherboard is the storage. Okay. Aside from that, it is awesome for a streaming build, and I'll explain why. So this thing has 4 M.2 sockets. Now, for the average user, they'll be able to use all 4 of those without any issues. Okay. Actually, let me check that. One of them might bifurcate this. I'm going to double check that before I continue. Remember exactly how it directed everything. Expansion slots. It was... Okay. Okay, so on this one, yeah, okay, so the way this works is that, actually, yeah, for anyone, essentially, especially, particularly if you have a 5090, which that's not what's going in this build, essentially 2 out of the 4 M.2 slots for M.2 storage, SSDs, okay? The fastest kind of storage you can get. If you use the second or the third one, it's going to cut the communication for your GPU slot in half, down to 8 lanes of PCIe Gen 5. Now, if you're talking about a 5070 Ti, that's probably going to be fine. It's not going to saturate even 8 lanes of PCIe Gen 5. If you're talking about something like an older GPU, like a 4090, that's actually going to run at PCIe Gen 4. Because regardless of whether the slot itself has PCIe Gen 5, the interface for that 4090 is PCIe Gen 4. And PCIe will default down to whatever is the lower spec, okay? And 8 lanes of PCIe Gen 4 will bottleneck a 4090. It's not going to be the worst bottleneck, but it is noticeable, and it will lower your scores in 3D Mark to a noticeable degree, where it's like, hey, you're getting less than average performance. I have this in a video. I am not speculating here. But for something like a mid-range to mid to high tier, mid-high, I should say, like a 5070 Ti, where it's a pretty high-end graphics card, even then, it's probably not going to saturate 8 lanes of PCIe Gen 5. I have a 5070 Ti. I should shut off half of the lanes on my X16 slot and test it and see if that's actually true. I should test that. I can't do it now. I'm streaming on that PC. But anyways, so what you would have to do is to set up your storage to where you have enough storage in the first slot and the fourth one to where you don't need to use these two. Because the big benefit from this motherboard is here. You see, just yesterday, I was working with someone, with Mark, but it's Finite Singularity, okay? Finite Singularity has been on stream with me before. He is a developer of plugins for OBS. Some of the plugins that the biggest streamers in the world use, and a lot of other streamers as well, because they're free plugins on GitHub that work beautifully in OBS. But we're building him a new PC. Now, he's building it himself. I wanted to work with an SI to get him a free PC because he has done so much for streamers. He's done so much for the community, and he rarely gets the recognition because you got other, if you want to look at the software and game development part of Twitch, that all got like taken over by Pirate Software, and like all the viewership went there. And he's, but he's doing so much by doing all this stuff. I mean, he's an Elgato partner at this point, and that helps, but still. But he needed a motherboard that had 2 PCIe X16 slots that both did 4 lanes of PCIe, and not necessarily Gen 4. One is Gen 3, one is Gen 4. Because something like a really, I don't know if I'm losing you on this, but something like a really high-end internal capture card needs 4 lanes of PCIe Gen 2. So it's slower, but it needs those 4 dedicated lanes of PCIe connection. So you can put a very high-end USB add-in card, not high-end, it's still like $35, but a faster 10 gigabit per second USB add-in card. You could put in a 10 gigabit NIC in here, a 10 gigabit network card to get really fast Ethernet. You can put in something like an Elgato Camlink Pro with 4 HDMI inputs for multiple camera angles, all kinds of stuff. The kind of things that once you really get into streaming, you're going to be so glad you have this. I did mention this to Mark, but they totally stole the Nerf logo, by the way, for the master logo here. What's the freaking deal? What the hell? What the hell, Gigabyte? That is Nerf. And so they're like, Gigabyte comes out with a new slogan, it's master or nothing. Well, that doesn't sound right, does it? Anyways. What was I saying? Anyways, so there's that. And then there's this. The I/O is awesome on this board. Could it be a little better if they didn't have this stupid ventilation right here? Possibly, but there's something important to this. I actually looked at the layout of the USB controllers, both from the CPU, which is going to be the USB 4 controllers, from the chipset. And this is pretty much the appropriate amount of USB to not overwhelm the USB controllers on the board. And if this turns out to not be enough, well, that's what these are for. Because, as I show a lot on stream here, you would use a card like this one, and specifically like this one. I'll explain why, but take a look at what that has. Lots of USB Type A 3.0 and USB Type C. These are up to 10 gigabit per second with their own controller on here, okay? This is like $35 on Amazon. It plugs directly in. You put in one screw to secure it in place, and it's plug and play. It's awesome. Like this, in addition to the I/O that's already on there, is fantastic. But I want to show you this. Take a look at this. So this is 4 lanes of PCIe right here. That's what the size of that is. This other card can only do 5 gigabit per second, but still has a ton of USB to add in. But look at the size difference there. Let me flip it around to the same. No. Yeah. Okay. Focus. You see that? That's PCIe X1. That's just requires 1 lane of PCIe. This, to get 10 gigabit per second speeds, you need 4 lanes. That's what this motherboard has on both of those slots. And it makes a difference. It can be very important. And I obsess about this stuff, so you don't have to. It's the Master Blaster. Would it work with all 7 ports? Just curious to know. I don't know if you can if you can do 10 gigabit per second with all 7 ports, particularly because the ones here that are USB Type A, these are USB 3.0 anyways. These are 5 gigabit per second. The 3 USB Type C can do 10 gigabit per second. So doing 3 of them, maybe, but when are you going to actually be saturating 3 USB Type Cs? What are you going to be doing to do that? No, it's just, you know, you can connect devices that can reach those speeds with no problem. And these are also awesome because you don't need any, it just runs off of PCIe bus power. You don't need to run anything from your power supply to power this. Anyways, back to the build. So that's the motherboard right there. As long as you're fine with just getting 2 drives in there and just getting adequate storage that way. Now, if you get to the point to where you need more storage, you should be already looking at a NAS drive or some kind of external storage and cloud backup at that point. If you really get into video editing and you're doing it to where you're making money off of it, you can absolutely justify getting a NAS drive and having that network attached storage to where you can store all your stuff. It can be very fast. This also features something really nice, which is 5 gigabit Ethernet. So if you have fiber internet and they offer up to 5 gig, like I have here, then you can actually utilize this port to get very fast, very stable connection, which is great for streaming too. You're just basically taking the bandwidth out of the equation. You can do any bandwidth of streaming and you're fine. And Wi-Fi 7 here. Also, this is amazing for uploading 4K videos to YouTube and such. So yeah, we can talk about what the different colors of these ports are at some point. I like to go over that now and then. But yeah, there you go. That's the board. It is, though, to be clear, a $500 motherboard. Oh, so what's the difference between this and the cheaper Aorus Elite right here? It's not, for one thing, they don't have any of them in stock, so we can't do that one. But the I/O on the back is, I/O, there's some slower ports rather than the faster ones, but they also don't have it. But yeah, is that investing a lot in your motherboard? Well, yeah, you're not just gaming. What does that even mean? Why do I even ask for stuff like this? The whole point of getting AM5 for some people is that they can upgrade their CPU. So if you're just buying that motherboard to keep it for years and years, get a good one. Anyways, we'll go ahead and move on. If we need to change that, we can. I think that's a great motherboard for X870E. That's going to be it's a winner. Now for RAM, I would recommend a minimum of 64 gigs. So we'll do that. If there's budget left over, we'll look at 96, but I don't think you're going to be anywhere near using that much until you really get into video editing, and RAM is easy to upgrade. The problem is you would have to take out this kit and set it aside to put in the new kit. You want to only run 2 sticks of RAM when it's DDR5. That's still the meta right now. But yeah, 64 gigs, DDR5 6000, CL30, and it's Trident Z5 Neo, so you got Expo profiles, Dunyan rings, baby. There you go. Now, what did you say about not too much RGB? Got it. Okay. Now the video card. Let's talk video cards, okay? There is one downside right now, is that we're probably like 5 months away at most from NVIDIA announcing and potentially already launching their 5070, 5070 Ti, and 5080 super cards. And those, the main thing that leakers have been talking about is that they're going to be buffing up the VRAM, which can matter in things like video editing. Still, though, 16 gigs will get you very far when you're first starting out. Trust me on that. I started with 8. So, yeah. I built my channel starting out on a 3070. Well, before that, it was actually RX 580. So that was an 8 gig card too, but way less capable than a 3070. But what we're looking at is a 5070 Ti. And for one thing, we're obviously investing in a balanced build, right? It's a little imbalanced because you have a motherboard that's more expensive than the CPU, yada, yada, yada. But we're talking about GPU versus CPU eventually, versus RAM capacity versus motherboard features. All of that needs to be balanced when you have a multi-purpose PC like this. Now, let's take a look at the video editing performance of a 5070 Ti. Oh, actually, first, we're going to look at pricing, okay? You can find a 5070 Ti for, in some cases, they'll have it for the actual announced MSRP, original MSRP of $750, believe it or not. Right now, I already see one that is $799, $50 away from MSRP. It sucks that feels crazy to me, but it does. They even have a 5080 for $999. That's crazy, but that's a $250 difference. That actually makes the 5080 within reach for this build potentially, though. That feels crazy. I feel crazy right now, but okay. If we go check this out, let's take a look at this. It used to be that it was a $400 or $500 difference between a 5070 Ti and a 5080. So this was a more prominent, this was a more important point to make, but it still is valid. This is the same Puget Systems website for Puget Bench. But here we're talking about the 5070 Ti in terms of content creation. Now, if we go down to looking at Premiere Pro, well, there's not much of a difference between the 5070 Ti and that old 5080 right there. I mean, we're talking about a very small difference. Is that worth $250 to you? Well, you can get better gaming performance. Is it a lot of difference in gaming performance? Not really. It can be 10 to 15% in some games, a little more in other games, and less in some games as well. It's like, it varies. But 10 to 15% can be the difference. And looking at $250 of a difference in price, I mean, that's like a 33% difference in price. At 33% more than $750. Am I getting that right? Maybe. Whatever. It's something like that. But if you feel like when you're getting into video editing, you're going to be doing a lot of this GPU effects, graphics and effects going on in your, in your videos as you're editing them and all that. Yeah, this is where the 5080 pulls ahead. It has more CUDA cores. It's going to do better. Okay. However, the 5070 Ti is still near the top of the heap here for a lot less money. And it has the same amount of VRAM, 16 gigs of VRAM. I thought it was 25% more on price. SSA, from my understanding, if you're talking about a $1,000 GPU versus a $1,250 GPU, that would be 25% more in price. However, if you're looking at $750, $250 of a price difference is 33% of $750. Like, take 33% because it's 1/3, add that on top, you have $1,000. I don't know. I don't know what direction you're supposed to do the math in. Whatever. It's a difference. It's a price difference that's greater than the performance difference in gaming. So there you go. Now, the reason I would say don't spend the 5080 money is because we are on the cusp of super cards coming out. I don't know if you would want to buy another graphics card in 6 months. And if that's the case, maybe get a 5060 Ti instead for now. They can do 1440p gaming, yeah. and you're going to spend half the price of a 5070 Ti. Well, a little more than half. So what the leaks are saying right now is that the 5070 Super is going to be 18 gigs of VRAM, which is more than the 5080, which is crazy. So that might not be true. Who knows? The 5070 Ti and 5080 are both supposed to bump up to 24 gigs of VRAM, like the same as the 4090 had. So that's pretty significant. Is it going to help gamers much? Probably not, because the 5070 Ti and the 5080 are keeping the same count of CUDA cores, according to some reliable leakers. The 5070 is going to be the biggest jump in performance. 5070 Super is going to be the biggest jump in performance versus its non-super counterpart, just like it was with the 4070. Because, just like with the 4070, it is actually an increase in CUDA cores and VRAM. So you're getting a repeat, essentially, except that now you're getting also an increase in VRAM, which is going to help with probably future games, like AAA titles in the future, your GTA 6s and whatnot, at max out settings and whatnot, but also in productivity tasks that require VRAM. That's where it's really going to help. So I would say right now, grab a 5070 Ti. It's going to feel fine. You're just getting into video editing where you're really mostly just scrubbing through the timeline, cutting out parts you don't want of the video, putting it together, and then rendering that out. And the 5070 Ti is going to be just as good as the 5080 for that purpose, as this chart shows. Right, this is the wrong chart. Actually, right here. What was this one? These are all almost even, actually, so it really doesn't matter. That's interframe score. Here we go. The overall score. Just about the same. So let's just look at 5070 Ti. There we go. Search and go by lowest price. That's going to show a bunch of 5070s, but we should see a 5070 Ti pop up here soon. TM says Root 2. Okay, it looks like $800, $799 is the cheapest 5070 Ti. That means the price difference between that and a 5080 is $200. It's a little closer, but it just happens to be what they have in stock. But saving that $200 could be important to you. I don't know. You go ahead and the thing about it is, when you place this order, you can just change it to a 5080 if you want. But we're going to go ahead and go with a 5070 Ti. I don't think you're going to notice a difference between the two. If you had them in two otherwise identical PCs next to each other, I don't think you would spot the difference. Storage. So where are we at so far? We've done the majority of the PC's most expensive parts, and we're at $1,819 out of $2,800. We have $1,000 for the rest of the PC. I think we can do this. So we go with very fast storage for your boot drive and 2 terabytes of it. And I like the 9100 Pro from Samsung right now. That's 4 ter. There it is, right there. $229.99. There you go. And we can do an additional SSD if there's budget that's allowing for it. But what you might want to do, because you only have one more SSD that you can use if you want to use your PCIe slots, or if you don't want to bifurcate the primary PCIe slot, then what you want to do is hold off until you can get yourself a 4 or maybe even 8 terabyte secondary drive, so that you're not even going to worry about the fact that you only have 2 M.2 slots you can use without bifurcating your X16 slot. It's going to be plenty of storage. And by the time you're filling up 8 terabytes or even 6 terabytes, no, that'd be 10 terabytes, or even 6 terabytes of storage, right? You should be looking at external storage anyway, and a cloud backup if possible. So let's move on to the, we'll do the PS. Well, let's do the case first. Now let's talk about this. What's up, Chris? So, Sam, when you're looking at PCs, okay, when you're checking out computers that pre-built, whatever you're looking for, what cases stand out to you? Do you like the ones with, do you care about the aesthetics that much? I know you said you don't want too much RGB, and I understand that, but do you like the ones that are wrapped around glass where you have side and front glass, or do you prefer the ones that are more straightforward and just have a mesh front panel with fans on the front, that kind of thing? What are you looking at for the aesthetic of your case? Do you like the fish tank look, or do you want the standard front intake, top rear exhaust kind of build? because they've got it all right here. Also, let me know if you like the wood grain cases that have little accents of wood, because they have those too. I would say whatever case we choose right now, it can be important because it can tell us what power supply we can use. I don't really care about the aesthetic. Okay. Can you choose one anyway? Mesh front or side and front glass? Like, because all of them are going to have the side glass panel. That's just going to happen at this point, unless you get the mesh side paneled fractal design north. But I'm not a fan of that. I like more specific airflow, not just free for all airflow, unless you're building an open air build. Anyways, I'm open. I mean, okay, could do the King 95 Pro, as Chris mentioned. This right here. Well, here's the thing. Let me ask you this question then. How much space do you have on your desk that you have now or are going to have to put a PC on the desk? Because that's where it should be in most cases, especially if you're going to be doing things like streaming, because you're going to have a lot of stuff connected to it. It means shorter runs, all that stuff. But also, it's going to get less dirty if you have it off the floor. You don't want to put your PC on the floor. You could put it on a side shelf or something like that. But remember, you're going to have to connect a bunch of stuff to it. And a lot of these things don't come with that long of a cable. The reason I'm asking is certain cases are wider than others. Okay, there we go. Let's say maybe the X5 will work for our purposes. I think that would be a good case. Let me just show it to you so you can see it. I know you don't care about the aesthetic, but I can still show you. So we can look at the X5 then. There you go. Yep. It's a nice formed front mesh panel, included 3 fans included with it, which is great. I know I was zoomed in, but you could still see the case, so it's fine. And just pretty much a standard layout. Plus, you have a mesh side panel on the bottom here, so you can put bottom fans to help push air into your GPU. However, that can sometimes keep you from putting in PCIe cards, so I don't really recommend it for a streaming build. Alucard says don't use that one. Okay. Alucard, you got to explain. Did we already talk about this? What's wrong with this case? That's the one with the bad fans to work with? Okay. All right. I'll have to remember that, I guess. All right. Not the X5 then. There's other options. No problem. Could do Lencool 217. This thing's crazy. It has 170 millimeter fans. We talked about that one before? Okay. I guess I forgot. This has 170 millimeter fans in the front, which are great because they move a lot of air at lower RPM. So you have a quieter build. That can be really nice when you're streaming. I can tell, to be honest, my PC's pretty loud and it annoys me. But because I have a dynamic microphone, you don't really hear it. Let's go with the Lencool 217. It's nice. It's got a little bit of wood trim on it. It has really big, quiet fans in it. They're non-RGB, so the whole not too much RGB thing is in effect there. There you go. We do need to use a standard power supply, though. We cannot use the Lee & Lee Edge power supply like I like. Oh, Mikey, I forgot that. Did I say that in there? Oh, you don't like Lee & Lee. You're boycotting Lee & Lee. Never mind. Never mind. You're good. It really helps with building. It's really more important for building rather than for, like, pre-built, so it's fine. A1000G PCIe 5 ATX 3.1. Let's go with this guy right here. 1000 watts is more than enough. It is excessive for a 5070 Ti build, but you have some upgradability for something like, I don't know, a 6080 or 5080 Super or whatever you're going to be adding in there later on. Okay. It sucks, Alucard, because I like the aesthetic of the X5, so I'm sad to hear that. King, could you get the X5 and get C12 fans? Yeah, but then that's a waste of money. As to say, it's just better to get a different case at that point. Does he want digital or non-digital 217? Might matter. If they don't care about the aesthetic, I would say probably the non-digital VTS. What's up, by the way? Wait, what? Wait, what did Lee and Lee do? It's just for people who have to work with Lee and Lee's distribution, they're a pain in the butt to get parts from them. Everyone's going to go for the nicest GPU next year, the 6090. Yeah. Yeah. NVIDIA has been building up to this for quite a while. Okay. So we have that. We have, I think we're going to be able to add in more storage for you here, Sam. That's going to be great. So yeah, you're going to be set for a while on storage. We got to get the liquid cooling here. We might as well go with more Lee and Lee, so that you can control all your fan stuff through the Lee and Lee Connect app. So if we go here and we look at Lee and Lee, there should be a non-RGB version right here. There we go. This is nice because it just has a little bit of RGB on the CPU block. It's nice. So I was typing with my non-dominant hand because Taco Bell. Oh, that's cool. It's fine. Taco Bell, always worth it. IMO. I really like that Lee and Lee is doing the fanless AIOs, so you pick your own fans. That's super cool. There's also the GA2 Lite. This is $104.99. I would do this one right here. So that's what that's going to look like. It's going to look solid. I like the diffused RGB on the hub. 2800, Chris. 2800. It's a problem that the fans are only SATA powered with no daisy chain potential and with no PWM connections. That sucks. Really? That does suck. I'm gonna boycott that one. And I'm gonna find the card from the Montech person I talked to, and I'm gonna yell at them about it as an opening conversation. All right, so we got this one. This is gonna look good. So we're at 2444.92. Oh, this is important. Sam, real quick. The fee for having Micro Center build your PC for you is $250. Were you considering that? I don't know if you knew about that. There's obviously a fee. It's a service they're providing. Were you considering that as being separate from, or would you consider that as being separate from the budget, or is that included in the $2,800 budget? Because if that's the case, and we click it here, we are we're $100 away from maxing out the budget. So adding more storage might not be an option. Fee not included. Perfect. Okay. So now we can add storage. So we can do a 4 terabyte Inland Performance Plus to give you a total of 6. And remember, unless you want your GPU to be on half of its lanes, which for the 5070 Ti should be okay, but not necessarily if you go for a super card after the fact. That might not. It might start to affect it. You do have just the 2 slots for storage, but 6 terabytes can take you a long way before you start using external storage. Where's the 4? All right, let's just do this. Bam. Inland Performance Plus drives. Inland is the in-house brand for Micro Center. And to my surprise, when I looked into them, the Inland Performance Plus is beating out a lot of the higher name brand parts in terms of some of the scores that it gets, some of the ratings that it has. For longevity and such. So, yeah. And it's cheaper than the name brand competitors. So, it's good stuff. So, the 8 terabyte drive, which would be cool because then you'd have 10 terabytes, that's almost $700. So, it's not really an option. But the 4 terabyte is only $279. There we go. Yeah, there you have it. 2724.91, and this thing is a boss. 64 gigs of RAM, a X870E Aorus Master motherboard with all the connectivity, a 5070 Ti. Now I didn't really mention this, but your primary drive is PCIe Gen 5. Bars. Sorry. So this gets, just comparing it to this. This is your PCIe Gen 4 drive, the 4 terabyte. It is on the higher end of what PCIe Gen 4 can get speed-wise, and it gets up to 7,200 megabyte per second sequential read speeds. Cool? Cool. That's very fast. Your primary drive gets up to 14,700. So double that. More than double. That's your primary boot drive where your main programs are going to be, where your operating system's going to be, and it is insanely fast. This is peak right now. This is at the top of the food chain in terms of storage for consumers. And it's insanely good, okay? So whatever programs you use the most, whatever projects you're currently working on, that kind of stuff, you put it on this thing, and everything else, including your game library, can go here, and it's going to perform perfectly well. This is going to be awesome. This is going to be great for you. I don't foresee you needing much more storage for quite a while. Even being a full-time YouTuber, it took me a while to start filling up my storage. I did eventually because I can't get rid of files. I'm really bad at that. But yeah, no, this build does everything. Now, we did go with a 9700X, but that's because we're looking at potentially a massive upgrade for the next AMD generation of CPUs. And that should be, according to AMD, that should be for socket AM5, which you currently have in this baller motherboard right here with the X870E. I'm also a new subscriber to Safe PCs. Chris, that's awesome. My issue with Lee & Lee's fans is a QC. They're the only brand I've had multiple failures for. Their RMA form is horrible, and replacement parts are only available on AliExpress if they're no longer being manufactured. What? Oh, okay. So they're only available on AliExpress. They're available through normal channels if they're still being manufactured, and through AliExpress if they're no longer being manufactured. Interesting. Okay. Which happens often because they do come out with new versions of their stuff very often. Or would SSA says, would it be worth it to get the 5080 over the 4 terabyte M.2? No. You're barely going to notice a difference in performance with the 5080. You will definitely notice having triple the storage. Yeah. That is a much more practical use of the money, SSA, especially with the super cards being on the horizon. Battlefield 6 is hitting 100% on all 8 of my P cores on 14700K. Damn, Marutu, I guess, thank you for letting me know that that's a CPU-intensive game. What resolution? 1080p? Did that with the X5M, and I had to replace all the fans in it to make it work, as well as add a hub to use a reset switch for the RGB hub. Maybe on the non-M one, it's different. I don't know. But thanks for the heads up, Alucard. Anyways, so now we have this build. So I'm going to share this build with you, Sam. This is fantastic. Thank you so much. We'll get this built this weekend. Awesome. Do me a favor. I don't know if they hear about me very often there, but apparently it's to the point where there are some people who used to watch the stream who work at Micro Center, according to someone who I helped out with a build. But let them know. Tell them like, hey, this dude Braethorn is doing builds for you guys on his streams. What do you think of the spec? What do you think of the build? I want to see what they say. Okay, bam. Now here's something I need you to do. There's 2 more notes I got for you. Okay, Sam, listen up. First off, the main thing I need you to do right now to focus on doing is this. I need you to go here after you click on that link and save this build. If you don't already have a Micro Center account, it's going to ask you to make one. If you do have one and you're not logged in, it's going to ask you to log in. And save this build to your account. Okay? Please do that as soon as you can. Wait, yeah, I did do a power supply. Okay. Please do that like now, so that, because if I do another Micro Center build, this one's getting erased. If it doesn't work to add it to an account, you can just add it to cart, I suppose. But yeah. Oh, I saw that build was TL Foreman, right? Yes, it was. I've saved the build already. Watch several of your PC matchmaking videos. Hey, there you go. All right. Now, the next thing is, if you want to, you're going to want Windows on this, and you probably already know this part, but you can ask Micro Center to install Windows 11 Home and not activate it. You can leave it unactivated if you want. That's totally fine. Or you can get an OEM license for it for literally 1/5 the price of the retail license. And I've got a code for you too. You know, I should really have that link available as a command. Let me go grab it real quick. 1 second. Why is that link not working? Okay, why is it not bringing it up? My link doesn't seem to be working now. Interesting. Oh, there we go. Got it. Okay. Okay, so here it is. And it code's Break25. It comes out to $22 for Windows 11 Home. You do need to make sure you get the right license for the right version of Windows that you get. You don't need Windows 11 Pro unless you know you need Windows 11 Pro. In that case, you'll already know it. But if you get Windows 11 Home installed on your PC, you need a license for Windows 11 Home, which is the link I gave you. Okay? And I will let you guys know, that is not an affiliate link. It's just a discount link. I don't get paid out for each time someone buys a license. It's just a good deal, so I recommend it. 1440p high, 144 hertz. Okay. So, Rutu, it sounds like Battlefield 6 is using a lot of CPU. That's good to know. Back to the Micro Center builds. And boy, we couldn't be more thrilled about it. I'm sure you guys can understand if I like to do builds where they, like, it's helping out a system integrator, because it's a tough time right now for SIs. And most of the ones that are in here right now are for Micro Center. But anyways, it looks like no one else has filled out the form right now. So is there anyone else who's filled out the form previously and is waiting for help? You do need to let me know that you're here and waiting for help. Okay? But Sam, I got to say thank you for watching the previous streams, because I know it helped you sort of get a familiarity with what this process was going to be like. And I hope that that helped out, made it a better experience. Yeah, just remember, if you know anybody who needs help with a PC, they don't need to stress about it. They don't need to worry about a bunch of buyer's remorse, because going in and making an educated purchase is the best medicine, the best preventative against buyer's remorse. You're going to go in as an educated consumer. You're going to get exactly what's right for you. So, yeah. Sakura Valley says, just did. Hey, there you are. Look at that. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? Oh, boy, that's a big old budget there. Okay. Cambridge, Massachusetts. Oh, it's Micro Center. Oh, okay. All right. Well, you're doing a DIY build, it looks like. That's cool. Okay. We have a life story on our hands. Okay. I will say this. You can just put this in chat. This does cause mayhem in my data that comes out of these forms, which is why I say, tell me a company name for an SI or put a link for a PC part picker list. Well, we got a whole thing here. Let's see what we got. This might not be the intended use case for this field, indeed, but I need it to be small form factor, mini ITX, all right, since I need to bring it back to Switzerland with me in a few months. This also means the voltage on the PSU has to be compatible with both EU and US currents. Most of them are going to have a switch for that, a little switch for that, and it should be fine. Definitely helped out watching the streams and learning your process. It's a tremendous thing you offer, and thank you again. It's my pleasure. Happy to help out. Just the only thing I ask is that you let other people know if they need help to come on over and get help here. It is free, and I'm like, I need people to help right now. Like, I just had someone fill out the form, and thank goodness, because now I can help somebody. So yeah, anyone you know who wants to do what you did and get a PC that's exactly right for them, you know where to send them. I should mention, I got a PC in Switzerland that I was planning on using as a streaming PC, 7950X3D and 7900XTX. That's a bit overbuilt for a streaming PC, Sakura, I will say. Generally, for a streaming PC, you don't need a crazy CPU. You don't need a crazy GPU. It just needs to be able to encode your stream. You're not gaming on it, right? What you might want to do, although it needs to be ITX, that's not good for a streaming PC. I was going to say what you might want to do is build a streaming PC, just a streaming one, because then it can be cheaper than a combined gaming and streaming PC. Racing sim, flight sim, okay. I will say also for an ITX build, using that for a racing sim or flight sim setup can be tough if your sim rig does not have its own hub for all of the different devices. Some higher end sim hubs or sim rigs will have a hub that everything connects to, and then you have one high bandwidth USB or whatever that goes to your motherboard, and cool, great. Sometimes, especially if you buy things piecemeal, a la carte, you need a lot of USB ports to make that work. It was my gaming PC, but I'm in the US for 6 months, which is why I need a new gaming PC. All right, cool. Gonna be a bit busy. One of my builds sold on Java. That's awesome. A la carte, congrats. That's great. Hello, quick question. You helped my first computer build 2 years ago. Is a 3080 GPU still viable? Rain Helios, welcome. I recognize that name, yeah. It's been a while. Is it still working? You don't need to upgrade anything if everything's running fine. Unless you're like, oh, I'm going to upgrade to 4K, and these games aren't running well enough on this new monitor that I got. If everything's running fine, who cares? The only, like, if you're looking at benchmarks on, in review videos and being like, oh my God, that beats the 3080 so much, forget those. The only benchmark that matters is enjoyment, not performance. Enjoyment. If you're enjoying yourself, keep your money in your wallet. The 3080 is still a good GPU. Depending on what you're doing with it, to be fair. Okay, thank you so much. That's all I needed. Yes, awesome. Thank you so much. No problem. I mean, hey, you know what it's like hanging around here. You're going to pick up some information whether you like it or not. So feel free to hang out as much as you want and just soak up the info. Well, my CPU is working. How much is it working? What percentage are we talking about? Working on the same on X5 as well as X5M. Check the case out at my local Micro Center. Okay, cool. Well, thank you for letting me know. Battlefield 6 loads very fast on Gen 3 NVMe drive. Interesting. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. For gaming, you really don't need super fast drives. Game? Wait, what is that? What can I see? Yo, thank you for the resub at tier. Oh, I could do this right. What am I doing? I can do this the proper way. Rain Helios. Thank you for the tier 1 sub. Let's go, nerds. Welcome back to the Swarm. You subscribed. You're stuck here. You're stuck here now. No, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I mean, really, it was just a really quick answer. That wasn't necessary, but I do appreciate it. Running an R23 test, Cinebench. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, so let's talk about this PC. Now, you don't really care about upgrading your CPU down the line, and that's fair. If you're looking at just a gaming PC, though, AMD is still on top when it comes to that. It's just at 4K, the CPU doesn't make as much of a difference. So you don't need to necessarily spend a bunch on that. But the thing is, what's your actual maximum budget? Because we're looking at 5,000 or more. It might not matter about saving a couple $100 not getting a 9800X3D. You could just get a 9800X3D. But what is the actual number that is your max budget? Skeeter, thank you for the lurk. Okay, so I got 10K sitting around right now. Okay, so we're going to do 2 of these, right? You're going to send me the other one. Okay, good. All right. Let's see here. Okay, so I was already told by Sam that they saved the build, so we can do this. It is out of there. Okay. So let's see. If we... if you weren't building this yourself, I'd be like, oh, 10K is your budget? I'll build it for you live on stream. But no, you're building it yourself. You want that enjoyment yourself. That's totally fine. So let's go for 9800X3D. There's not just a benefit of performance with the 9800X3D. Over the 7800X3D, it has better temperatures too. And better performance. But like other than that, like frequencies, temperatures, everything is better to where in a smaller form factor build, it's more viable. Because it can work with a smaller cooler than on a 7800X3D without throttling the CPU. I think 1500 to 1600 suits the need of anyone who wants to stream as well as game, as long as you have a console. Ghost Poner, yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah. Although it can be expensive to capture a console. You're talking about a capture card over $200 right there if you want to get it with full resolution and frame rate for the pass-through. With variable refresh rate and all that good stuff. Anyways, because VRR is in the PS5 and all that. So let's go with the 9800X3D. There we go. Motherboard. Go with ITX. Mini ITX. Not a lot of options here, but what color are we going with? We're going with a black PC. Okay. I mean, listen, chat. When someone says the budget doesn't matter, we don't concern ourselves with what the right choice is. We go for high-end stuff. You just remove any restrictions that could potentially exist. And here, the X870-I ROG Strix for $489. Sure, why not? I want to see what the I/O is on this thing, though. I'm curious. Oh, cool. Great picture of the I/O. Thank you. Asus is probably not going to be much better with their pictures. Oh, I might be at the wrong location. What was the location? It was Cambridge, Massachusetts. Yeah, I'm at the wrong location. Let's go back to the motherboards and see if there were more options or fewer options. Yeah, they don't have this motherboard there. So good thing I checked that. So it's going to be Aorus Pro instead. Or no. I get there is a Strix board there. Okay, so we'll go with this one. And we're going to check that one instead. I'm not even going to go with that. Well, actually, this might have the picture versus the other motherboard. And look, it does. They did it. Good job, guys. This is what I'm talking about. Whoa. What are you doing, camera? Are you okay? Hey, down here, buddy. What was that about? How long was it like that? Thanks, Micro Center. Great picks. Thanks, Steve. Okay. Why this? Why this? What the hell is the purpose of this? This is what they do to cheap out from adding enough. You don't have a PCIe slot to add more USB to this. This is so frustrating. This might not be the best choice. Like, so, okay, Sakura, let me ask you this. I mean, obviously, yeah, it's really bad. Let me ask you this. Your sim rig that you're talking about, does it have a dedicated hub from the manufacturer of the sim rig? Whether it's for flight sim or racing sim. Does it have a dedicated hub? God. It's like a virus. It's spreading. This is actually worse. It's cheaper, but this is actually worse. because you have fewer fast ports here. Slower ports. I've yet to build it. I can easily consider that when building. Okay. Yeah, focus on one that has a good hub as integrated as part of it, because that's what you're going to have to use. This is... I don't want to go ASRock. I'm not going A620. Yo, D. Peterloff, thank you for the 24 biddies. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, you might as well go with this one. And going ASRock right now is not the thing to do with the 9800X3D, so we're not doing that. Okay. The reason I like regular sized builds, and I know it needs to be ITX, but you just add something like this to your build and you're good to go. But you don't have any PCIe slots for that with an ITX motherboard. That's just how they work. We could go MATX, but you're talking about a substantially bigger case then. I can check. I got another location within like a 10-mile difference. Okay. That would be the other Massachusetts one, I imagine. Well, no, hold on. Another. Wait, where is it? I only see one Massachusetts location for Micro Center. What's close to that one? I don't know geography. I'm an American. Dan, what's up? I'm looking for a bit of an education, but can't you use an external hub, USB hub connected to one of the faster USB-C ports? Dan, that's what I was talking about. There are some sim rigs that have a dedicated proprietary hub that is designed to work with their components into a fast USB port and have like zero latency. Very little latency. Connecticut. Okay. Okay, so what does that mean? Which one's near? Yeah, there isn't one in Connecticut. New Jersey. Okay, New Jersey. Sure. So you're near all the New York State and New Jersey micro centers. All right. Okay, let's go to Yonkers, New York. Okay, so they do have the same one, but we're looking for a better one. Hey, look at that. Look at that, would you? We got some choices now. Let's look at the Aorus Pro. Unless we already did. Or maybe the Aorus Ultra, actually. I think we looked at the Aorus Pro. No. Yeah. I think, which one did we look at? It's right here. We looked at the Aorus Pro. So let's look at the Ultra. It's cheaper, though, but let's see what they did. Okay, we'll look at another one. MSI is an option. There was this one. Was it? I already looked at this, I think. Or I haven't yet. I haven't seen this one yet. Hold on. I was going to look at this one. Okay, getting a little bit better. You have, no, not that much better. Like, it's the same number of 10 gigabit ports. It is one additional USB 2.0 port, but what you get is more Type-C ports. That's what you get. You get one extra Type-C port, which can be a big difference. Because you can get a lot, you know, you can get a USB 4 hub right there, which can be a Thunderbolt 4 hub. Sometimes those work with that. It's basically the same controller. They just didn't pay for the license. This also has Wi-Fi 7, which can be nice. Yeah, let's go for this. That one was sold out. Wait, what? No, there's 2 in stock at Yonkers. Yeah, in Yonkers, there's 2 in stock. So that gets you 1 additional Type-C. I hate ITX. And one additional USB 2.0, which can be helpful, believe it or not, because your mouse, your keyboard, a controller, like a handheld controller, a wireless headset with a USB dongle, those kinds of things, those can all run off of USB 2.0 with 0 problems. They're meant for that kind of port. Let's look at this guy right here. This is the only MSI board on the list here. I want to see what they did. This might be the GOAT right here. And because it's ITX, who cares that it's got silver components? It's not going to perfectly match. I think it'll be fine. I guess we're going with the $480 board, which again is fine. $490, excuse me. No budget, huh? Why not a Tiki? I mean, that's true, but they want to build it themselves. But also, a Tiki can be a little hard to like. You can't do carry on with a Tiki. It's too tall and wide for your typical overhead carry on kind of thing. If you're traveling with it, and I think that's the focus here, Mikey, is traveling back to Switzerland. That's not easy travel right there. Oh, at the other location, that's why you skipped it. Fair enough. Got it. Well, we have something decent at Yonkers, so that's where we'll go. Now you only have 2. Well, let's see. First off, how much storage do we have in this? That's got how many storage, he says. Tech specs. Okay, so for storage, you're going to have probably 2 M.2, okay? So what we can do is we can do what I've been doing. Oh, wait. Yes. So you have one that supports PCIe 5.0, and then you can get an additional, larger storage drive for the second. That's a little bit slower, a PCIe Gen 4. Like I've been doing with a lot of builds lately. I've been doing the Samsung 9100 Pro, 2 terabyte for your boot drive and where your most important programs and stuff goes. And then if you want a lot of storage for games, things like that, we can add something like a 4 terabyte drive. With an ITX motherboard and an ITX build, you kind of want to do all that at the onset because going in and adding storage can be a nightmare. Cable management is very difficult. It can be really hard to get to where your secondary storage might be. On this board, I believe it's just stacked right here. Let's go back to the gallery, see if we can look at the back of the board. Cool. It might be under this. And once you have it mounted in there, there's no accessing that. Or it is double stacked under here. And that's actually what it is. It looks like that's what it is. Looks like you have double stacked M.2s under this. That is easier to access, but by no means is it really easy, but it is easier to access. And they actually do have a fan right here, so I get why there's ventilation there. It can be pretty tightly packed in an ITX build. I get it, okay? I get it, but I don't have to be happy about it. We do have just 2 DDR5 sockets here, which is fine because you really just want to use 2 sticks anyway. But yeah, let's go ahead and move forward with this thing. I'd go for 2 big NVMEs because I want a dual boot. Oh, you're in Switch to Twitch. Seems easier. Okay, sure. Yeah, it needs to fit in my luggage. All right, cool. I go for 2 big NVMEs because I want to dual boot. Okay. There is a 4 terabyte PCIe Gen 5 drive, the 9100. And again, money is not being an issue, so yeah. It's barely that much more to go with 64 gigs of RAM. Let's just do that. Why not? It ain't going to hurt nothing. So let's do that. Let's see, DDR5 6000, CL30. And we can go with the non-RGB because you're not going to see that anyway in an ITX build. We do need to look at what ITX cases they have, but of course, you're getting a parts list. You can literally order any case you want if they don't have one you like. Did you have a case in mind already? Gotta love 2 different progress updates on tracking. Zeno, that sounds great and not stressful at all. Wasn't sure. Didn't really find what I liked on Micro Center. Okay. It made it to customs in NZ. Now it's saying it's left the origin country. Well, I mean, both can be true, I guess. The music's a little loud, I just realized. I mean, I do have audio ducking on, but... oh, well. Still bring that down a little bit. I thought it was a little loud in my ears. Okay. Video card. I guess we should pick a case before we pick the video card. But I mean, clearly, you probably want the most baller video card you can get. The thing is, I need to see what SFX power supplies they have. Okay. 1200R. 850, 850, 850. And then there's the ROG Loki 1000 ATX 3.0. None of these are ATX 3.1. Oh, there's more here. Cool, cool, cool. Corsair 1000. It's all the same. Okay. Because if you're going with a closest ones is the Cooler Master NR200P or the Fractal Terra. I do like the Fractal Terra, and you can fit a pretty big GPU in that thing. Also got the Fifine AM8 from AliExpress. I got the one that comes with the ARM since it was barely more. Yeah, the ARM is a good deal. And it's a low-profile ARM, if I'm not mistaken. Right? That's a low-profile one. I like that one. The regular one, of course, any mic ARM is nice, but yeah. Okay. I want higher wattage if we're putting a 5090 in this thing. Do you need one? Probably a 5080 would be fine. But no budget. Why would we do anything else, right? We might just want to do an additional PC part picker list for this. We ballin'. I don't know. That's got to be fun. That's fun. And these can be fun to do vicariously. You know, like I enjoy that. But maybe we'll look for a power supply separately. Maybe the case as well. I rarely get to type this in. But yeah, we're doing 5090. There we go. Now we want something that is a decent size. Nothing too crazy. And you want 0 RGB. Fair. Okay. Damn. All right. Three and a half slot. ROG Astral. That ain't decent size. That is a chonker. Don't care if it's in there, but don't really care about it at all. Okay, that's fine. We're going to pick this one for now, and we need to make sure we have enough space for it, but I'm going to keep looking at these, see if I can find one that's a little smaller. Ideally, it would be something like the Founders Edition, but they don't carry that at Micro Center for this. This is actually a little bit slimmer. It is. Okay. Maybe not at this one point right here, but overall, this is a little bit slimmer. Let's keep looking. Ew. That looks weird with a 2-slot PCIe thing. But it's also harder to measure that way. This looks bigger, though. It looks like a larger card. This looks big, but we're looking, and it's white, but we're looking at it anyway. Yeah, that's a little bit bigger. Okay. Don't they have like the SFF versions where it's like certified? I mean, the slimmest cards are the ones that are liquid cooled, but then you have an AIO to mount somewhere, and you can't use that mounting for your CPU cooler. For the Terra, only the 5090 can fit it. You mean the Founders Edition? Is that what you mean, Alucard? Because these are all 5090s. Well, it's funny, Sakura, that you say that because the yes, the FE. Okay, I was like, what do you mean? How? What? Where are the details here? Bet it could fit a 1050 in it. Zeno, I bet you're right. Zebo? Who's Zebo? No, Zeno, I bet you're correct about that. Oh, the builder's done. Nice. No, you're good. You're good. Okay. This is it just weirds me out when you have this is your PCIe slot. And that what the hell? What the hell? Okay. That's huge. That's big. That's not what we're looking for. What we need is like a ProArt 5090, but or a Founders Edition. Yo, hold up. No, it's the wrong button, of course. I'm still, yeah, you know, it's okay. Sakura Valley, thank you for the Prime sub. Let's go, nerds. Welcome to the swarm. Oh, hold on. Someday, it'll do this. It's not showing. Why is it not showing? Oh, because it didn't do this. Welcome to the swarm. What's up, Jord? I'm doing okay, yeah. Doing fine. I'm just looking at all of these. Yeah, I think this is probably, this might be the slimmest right here, but I think it might be this one, actually. So we'll just go with this guy right here. And we're going to need to look for something that can do 3 slots plus on the GPU. And that was this guy right here. The Ventus 3X. Actually, let me check this guy real quick. I haven't looked at this one yet. It does have RGB. Yes, but it's fine. Let's see. Nope. All right. Yeah, MSI Ventus it is. Budget isn't a thing, right? eBay for that 5090 Founders Edition. I don't know if I would trust that, Mikey. I mean, you might get one that's got the GPU chip out of it or something, or metal blocks in there instead of, yeah. Zotac looked the same as the PNY. Yeah, more or less. Yeah. Yeah, I just did a match on Battlefield 6. My CPU usage was at 65 to 75%. 5800 XDD. Okay, cool. Good info. Sasa, thank you. Okay. The thing about something like this one here, okay? The fact that it's not uniform across it, that there are only a couple of high points on it, means that if there's any protrusions or anything from the case, that can actually be the difference. If you've never built a small form factor PC, something like this can make a difference in fitment, in whether your side panel goes on or not, that kind of thing. It actually can make a difference. I just wish that GPU manufacturers would just commit to 3-slot or 4-slot or whatever. This nonsense here has got to go. There are a lot of folks in the list today that are actually here. Bergie, it doesn't seem that way. Sakura, that we're helping right now, just jumped on there. Also, newest member of the Swarm. So, welcome to that. I hope you appreciate it. And you're stuck here now, so get cozy. Okay. We will get to the case. This might not, we might not be able to get the smallest case because you're putting some extreme hardware in this thing, but we'll figure something out. So 4 terabyte 9100 Pro, 429. There you go. Can do the Thermaltake TR100. Does that work? That case is cool because you can order that with a travel case for it that also fits a VR headset for some reason. It's pretty cool. The TR100 is a nice case. I like it. I think they're really just doing it to mess with the case at this point. Wait, what? Maybe. I don't know. Okay. Case. ITX, please. Max motherboard size, mini ITX. There are 3 TR100. There it is. So let's take a look at this. Because if it's just 3 slots for the GPU, that might not work. And yeah, you might not be able to fit the side panel with this. I don't think it's going to work. Yeah, I don't think that works. Zero chance, and even if you can, those fans ain't doing much. I think it's a mesh side panel. Is it not? Yeah, it's a mesh side panel, Mikey. So there's that. But yeah, this needs a Founders Edition card. And even then, here's the problem. If you do put a Founders Edition card in here, the motherboard's right there. And the Founders Edition uses a flow-through design. That hot air is just hitting the motherboard tray and motherboard and like heating it up. That's not good. Like I said, we need something like a... and that's the thing. Again, it doesn't need to be... Okay, sure. Let's take a look. Okay, so it's got compatibility ratings here, so that's good. Hey, if they say it works, then it works. Awesome. We looked at... In fact, there's the Ventus... There's the card we chose. It says it's compatible. Good. All right, sure. Fragbox would be cool. That would be cool. It is bigger, though. Fragbox is bigger. Much bigger than that. Not much bigger, but it is bigger. This case right here, you can actually fit into an overhead carry-on. You can fit this into a carry-on, like a Pelican case. It's not going to have a ton of padding, but you can get yourself the Air... What is it? I have it, and I forget the name of it. But there's a carry-on specific sized Pelican case you can fit this in. the one thing that we're going to need, I need to see if Micro Center has this. You need a PCIe Gen 5 riser cable. So what we're going to do is go to Micro Center here. Cool search. This is helpful. Thank you. It's a bunch of storage. What the hell is this? Come on, man. All right, let's try to narrow this down. It's like it's not even looking at what I typed. It does not care about what I put in there. This is worse than Amazon right now because you expect better from Micro Center. Maybe it's under graphics cards. Let's look for lowest price. Okay, you're going to need to order a PCIe Gen 5 riser cable. I guarantee you the case doesn't come with Gen 5. 14,000 products found. Yay! Yeah, you'll just need to order that. Let me just look real quick on Newegg PCIe Gen 5 riser GPU riser cable. Four point oh. 4.0. 4.0. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to use the 4.0 cable that comes with the case probably. And then later on, they'll come out with a PCIe 5.0 one that should work. I'll be honest with you. The last thing I want to do with a riser cable, with a 5090, is put it on a riser cable. But I think when there were issues with it previously, when it first launched the 50 series, putting it on a Gen 4 riser cable and setting in BIOS that the X16 slot is at Gen 4 helped it work seamlessly. They got it just not at these locations. I mean, maybe. I'm looking on Newegg right now. It's all PCIe Gen 4 or 3. Now, Height is finally launching their PCIe Gen 5 riser cable, so they have one. But it has a very unique form factor to it, where it has something that stands off from the motherboard that might not work in this case. I'm not sure. I am talking to I have a conversation that I'm getting into with Thermal Mike over at Thermaltake about another case that he's going to be sending me here soon. So I'll ask him when they're going to come out with their sort of version of the PCIe Gen 5, because the one that they have with the case, if there is one included, let me double check that actually. I mean, it has to work, right? Like it won't work without one. Let's see what's in the box. Where is that going to be listed? It also says specifically SFX for the power supply, so not SFXL. All right, I got to go to Thermaltake's site for this. Third-party resellers, man. Even the ones that are decent just don't have enough info. They also have some really rad colors for this case, by the way. Just in case you want to see some of that. Like, look at this. Look at that. That's so sick. The hydrangea blue is awesome. The bubble pink is awesome. Of course, the white one, you know. That looks like an air purifier or something, though. I love a white build, but that looks like an air purifier or something, or a what is it? A humidifier. I'd say probably my favorite is a hydrangea blue, or the mint strawberry. But I think they're coming out with one in Future Dusk, which is a dark purple, which of course is the best. Anyways, I want to see what comes with it. I need to make sure it comes. It has to come with a riser cable, right? The GPU support looks really good. I mean, look at that. Oh, and mounting it looks easy too. But yeah, there's a riser cable right there. But yeah, the GPU support looks really good. And that's a massive card right there. Okay. Damn, that's going to be fun to build in. Yeah, so there's a suitcase you can get for it, but this is not a carry-on suitcase. This is a checked bag kind of suitcase, but it has custom cut foam just for this case. It has a spot for a VR headset, as they show here. Yeah, it looks like that. Cables, mouse, keyboard, monitor, all that goes in there. A small keyboard, obviously a 60% or something, or 65. I just want to know if it comes with a freaking riser cable. And what the spec is on the riser cable. I'm about to lose my mind. Good Lord. Damn, that's Miku, lol. Yes, it is. It is very Miku coded. Absolutely. I'm about to lose my freaking mind here, man. Maybe it was in the specifications. I missed it. These drive base expansion slots. Oh, you can put an SFXL. You can do that. I would probably stick with SFX just to do it, because this thing says it can support up to a 280 millimeter radiator. I would probably stick to 240. That's going to be fine for a 9800X 3D. Okay. I'm going to assume this thing comes with a PCIe Gen 4 riser cable, okay? You don't sell the case without the thing you need to make the computer work. And I'll ask Thermal Mike when the Gen 5 version of that's going to come out as an upgrade. Yeah. Like, it's not showing here. It doesn't show here. Yay. All right. Cool, cool. How about this? Riser cable. All 4.0, 4.0, 3.0. Okay. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. They should have it. Accessory is on 1.1. And, yeah, there it is. There it is. Thank you. PCIe 4.0 riser cable, 220 millimeter. I should have done that to begin with. Why that's not on the page itself, I don't know, but there it is. It does come with a nut setter, so that's cool. Okay, there you go. So, rock the Gen 4 for now. In the BIOS on the motherboard, set that slot to PCIe Gen 4 just to make sure it works. You should be golden. Okay. Wow, that took a while. I mean, the fact that it comes with a PCIe Gen 4 riser cable at all is something you should boast about. That's an expensive component. It's in one small sentence. I don't know where. Like, I saw it in one of the pictures, but I'd like to have it stated clearly. You know what I mean? Now, for the power supply, see, they're only showing a single one. It's the SF1000. This does not state ATX 3.1 or 3.0, but you can get the cable from Corsair that just uses 2 8-pin PCIe to run it to there. And they have a newer version that is PCIe 5.0 or ATX 3.1. But yeah, if we take this off and we go to SFX, form factor, there we go. There are a lot more options here. That's just the only 1,000 watt option that is actual SFX, not SFXL. But let's check something else. I mean, I don't have anyone else who's filled out the form. Guys, we can take, like, I know this is taking a while. Sakura, I'm sorry. But I just like to be sure of stuff. We're not in a rush right now. Damn. That's $700. 80 plus platinum, 1,300 watts, Cooler Master V SFX platinum. Damn. What the heck? Going from 1,100 watts to 1,300 triples the price. I think 1,100 watts is fine. I know price isn't an issue. And you might want it to be the highest wattage possible. I understand. I say for every Micro Center build, there's a mandatory 50 gifted. That'd make me feel better. That would make me feel bad. I don't think I would like that. Coupon codes are great. Referral codes are awesome. It supports your favorite content creators, does stuff like that. It's not mandatory. The reason I was saying that this might not be sustainable is because it has been consistently Micro Center. That makes things difficult for me, yeah. I'm getting by. I'm fine. Now let's look at this and look at these. No 12v2, no 12v2 by 6. It's all 12v HPWR. That's unfortunate. And this just doesn't... Oh, that's 12 VHPWR. Okay, I do see it. Okay. As usual for Asus, their pictures are terrible. But let's take a look here. And just... Oh, it's SFXL? I didn't say SFXL. I said SFX. Nothing freaking works, man. The way I want it to. It says SFX, so maybe it's this search that was bad. I mean, I know SFXL works in there fine. Let's look at it. Wait, this is 1200 watts. This was 1200 watts too, right? Yes. Damn. Dual 12V 2x6? Okay. All right. I see you. But it's 12V 2x6. So whatever you got to do to make it work with SFXL, sure. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the manual that I was looking at and see what it tells you about SFXL. Let's go to the contents. Power supply installation, page 7. That's it. That's what you get. It just does that. And what it does with SFXL, it extends it this way. So you should be okay. You're going to have to tightly wrap your cables because this is where the radiator and fans go, but it should be fine. Additional 5090 eGPU incoming. Yeah. Well, I mean, an eGPU is going to have its own power supply, but yeah, I guess this would work. I'm going to send the pitch on behalf of Bray. I appreciate you. This time, can we blame PC Part Picker? We can blame PC Part Picker for the bad config. Yeah. The thing is, I want to go 12V 2x6, not 12V PWR. ITX cable management will humble you. Or Alucard, it will be a wake-up call, and you will not be as concerned as normal with your cable management. And you would just be like, you know what? It's not hitting the fans. This is fine. This is fine. We're fine. Also, this is why SFX power supplies come with shorter cables. You could even, actually, Sakura, you know what you could do? You can check on Cable Mod to see if they have cables that work with, I mean, they can make you cables for most power supplies, I believe, but they have somewhere it's already spec'd out. But you can basically get custom length cables from Cable Mod that you'll get later on. Basically, you would open the thing up, remove the current cables, and put in the shorter ones, and basically cable management isn't even a thing at that point. They make them to a custom length, whatever length you want, if it's not an already pre-existing spec that they have. So I guess we're just going to make you a list of anything that is not carried at Micro Center. So far, it's just the power supply. And for 309, that's solid. 1200 watts, titanium rated, and dual 12V 2x6 is completely unnecessary, but it's there. So, neato. Micro Center, when it comes to your SFX power supplies, get good, please. Not many builds need that hefty of a power supply for an SFX build, for a SFF build. Okay, we were doing storage. So we did a 4 terabyte PCIe Gen 5 drive there, and we can do an additional one. It can't be PCIe Gen 5 for the secondary one because the second slot from M.2 is PCIe Gen 4. So here's what we're doing, because budget's a non-issue, okay? What we're doing is this. An 8 terabyte PCIe Gen 4 Inland Performance Plus for $679.99. You now have 12 terabytes of storage in this little monster. So there you go. Chris, I think... Okay, hold on. Just letting Chris know they might be a little behind on the stream, depending on when they said nut setter. Best way to measure string. That's exactly how I would do it. Yeah, you can use string, actually. You run the string on the path that you're going to run the cable, and then you lay out the string flat and measure the length, and then you're done. If you can get the cover on, you've succeeded. Dan has it absolutely right. Smaller PC, bigger PSU wattage, same efficiency. Okay. If you see me flailing around with the mouse a little bit, it's because I rearranged my monitors in Windows to actually match how they're configured in front of me, and I'm getting used to that still. Okay. We don't need to worry about the power supply here. Let's look at liquid cooling. I know it can fit a 280. I'm not doing that, though. We're going to look at a 240, and we don't want something like an Arctic liquid freezer with a thicker radiator and just the overall thickness being more. We want a thinner radiator, and you might even end up having to buy low-profile fans for the radiator, okay? So we're going to go with the radiator size, 240 millimeter, non-RGB. Yeah, let's go with a thick Q60. There you go. It will not fit in there. You know what? I guess go thermal take. It doesn't matter if it is RGB. You can just turn it off, like you said, or set it to a color that you like. The thing is, you don't want the cable management for RGB. We would like to avoid that. I'm actually going to go with this. This does have RGB on the CPU block, so there might be one RGB cable, but that's it. Just that. Let's do this. You don't want a bunch of RGB cables inside your SFF build. Trust me. Trust me on that. Oh, there you go. There's your build. And look, like I said, you could do 2 of them with that budget. Brish, what's going on? Welcome. Yeah, that's a good one. All right. Yeah, I guess that's it. Let's look for one more thing that you can grab just in case you end up needing this. Of course, your power supply, you're going to be ordering it because their selection it's not terrible. It just wasn't enough for a 5090 build for small form factor. But what we want to look at is case fans. And we want to look for slim fans if they've got them. 70 minutes. No, these aren't right. Okay. Nope. Okay. So PC part picker is where we go. Case fans. Arctic P12 Slim PWM. There you go. Pack of 3 is $28.99. They don't look that great for static pressure, but slim fans usually aren't. But this is still going to be superior to an air cooler in there. I'm looking at these blade profiles to see if I can find one that might be better for, or it's just not going to work usually with slim fans like that. There's no prices on these, so yeah, okay. I'm just going to throw these in there for you. There you go. What about screws? Do those fans come with rad screws? I don't know. That's a good question. Oh, daisy chain. That's nice. See, here they have them on a radiator. So I guess maybe they do, but what we'll do is this. It's a great name for that build. Good job. So these are 10 millimeters shorter, skinnier for that. Let's see. There you go, Mikey. Corresponding screws for mounting on a radiator are already included. Now, we're going to take another look here at the manual here. And, well, let me just go look at where fan mounting is. Let's see, move components, power supply, motherboard. Okay, nothing specific about installing fans. .325 millimeters. Max length is 360. It cut it close, but it's going to work. No, but thank you for asking that, Mikey. That was a good point. Okay. No, I was looking at this. Let's go here. So you can only put fans or a radiator on the top. Wait, top side and top. What? I don't know. In any case, yeah. 3.5 centimeters of wiggle room should make it easy to put in. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, also, you can get a screen kit for this. And with you not really being about the RGB, I doubt you'd be about this. But you can put telemetry on here. Or your time. But yeah, telemetry as well. They have this for multiple cases, but it also works with the case we're looking at. I think this is a good build. I think you're all set. You are going to have a couple of extra fans, and it may be that you can leave the standard fans on the radiator, and if so, just leave those. They're going to have better static pressure. They're designed to work with the radiator. So I'm going to give you this list here, which is just two things, and then the Micro Center build. What do we think? Any questions or concerns? Okay, if I go with the Mac Mini, if we discuss that, I might have to get the Wakius M5 dock for it for an ultra retro look. Never seen that. Maybe I have seen it actually, but I don't remember. It rings a bell, but very gently and quietly, as if a memory of a dream. And we could also just go with an air cooler and put case fans there. But nah. Oh, actually, I just thought of something. Sakura, you're going to be flying with this thing. You're going to be shipping it. Not shipping it. You're going to be flying with it as luggage, right? I don't think they're going to want you to have a liquid cooler in there. Yeah. Okay. All right. We're adjusting. We are adjusting. We're fixing it. All right. We're correcting course. So let's go back to this manual here because it tells us cooler max height 68 millimeters. Let's go. Okay. What's the height of this? This is probably way shorter than need be. 45 millimeters. Okay, let's go ahead and turn this off right here because they're dumb. Okay, we can't do heatsink height. There we go. Oh, what is that in inches? Oh, hold up, hold up. I think this is a really good choice here, potentially. Height of it is 65 millimeters. There you go. And they said on here it was 65, right? 68. Perfect. Perfect. Okay. So you're getting a Noctua cooler. But we'll see if there's other ones. Let's see. 2.6. So we'll do this and that. Yeah, this is the one right here. This is what you want. Now, is that ideal for a is that ideal for the 9800X3D? Not really, but you can run it in kind of an eco mode, and that 3D V cache is still going to do its job. You'll still get great performance. The other option is that when you travel with it, you just remove you basically you use this cooler for a while, and when you get back to Switzerland, I think that's where you said you were going, right? Switzerland. Then you upgrade to a 240 millimeter AIO. That should do the job. Now, is that a waste of $76.99? Yes. But you didn't say money's like whatever. So okay, you know. Here's what I would do as well. I put on this list 2 slim fans. Go ahead and get those and just mount them to the case as exhaust or intake. And then you can then use them on the AIO when you get it, if you need to. Heck, I gotta wonder, would it be, if you could fit it, would it be better? Because here's the thing about push-pull on a radiator. It doesn't do as much of, make as much of a difference as you might think it would. In fact, in some cases, it doesn't make much of a difference at all. Nothing noticeable, couple degrees Celsius, if anything. But I gotta wonder with slim fans, does it help? I wish I had the funds for getting all the stuff to just test that. That'd be kind of cool. Anyways, yeah, I think this is good. There you go. If you find that the performance is lacking, you're monitoring your temps, and your CPU is hovering close to thermal throttling, under load, then you can, when you get back to Switzerland, upgrade to a 240 millimeter AIO or even a 280 millimeter AIO. But if that's the case, though, these 120 millimeter slim fans are not going to be the right size fans for it. I would just do 240. That's usually it. Usually fine for a that could be fine for a 9800X3D. Should not be a problem. But I will say, Noctua makes some of the best coolers on the market when it comes to quality and performance. You can't go wrong. So here we go. So that's 12 terabytes of storage, with 4 of those being ultra fast, a 5090. We're looking at a 9800X3D. The best Asus had to offer in terms of ITX motherboards. IO is it's just going to bother me forever, so whatever. It's fine. The 64 gigs, DDR5 6000 CL30, unnecessary amount of RAM, but whatever. Oh, with the Pelican case, oh wait, hold on. With the Pelican case, I feel safe to check it in. So that'd be less of an issue. Just wondering how much that is. Oh, yeah? Hold on. Oh, okay, I got you. I got you, Alucard. I don't know if it's available yet. Okay, this product is coming soon. Stay tuned for its release. I could ask, not at this time of night, but I can ask Mike how much they intend to charge for it. But he probably wouldn't answer right now. Yeah, I have seen this in person at both CES and Computex, and it's super nice. Really, really nice foam in here. So if you want to go with an AIO with this, that's fine. If they release it before February, that'd be ideal. Very likely, yeah. If you want, just stop by again on Tuesday. I should have an answer for you by then. It's not gonna be an additional $5,000 if you're wondering if it's gonna take up the rest of your budget. No, it's not. The fact that you pack a VR headset with it is the only reason they're able to say that this can handle a whole gaming setup, because there's no place for a monitor. But yeah, it is cool that there's a thing for the VR headset, and it does look like it did look like a really high quality built case. So yeah, there is on the right. No, that's not a monitor. Oh, there is. That's a monitor. I guess a portable monitor. That's the keyboard. I thought this was the keyboard. Okay. It must be, yeah, a portable monitor. Sure. Not a big one, but I guess that does also mean they can make it a full gaming setup. Like, where does the base for the monitor go? It's tough. It's tough to say. I would say, like, not instead of a VR headset here, I would put all your power cables, all your stuff like that, everything there. But I mean, hey, if you're into VR, this is a great setup for that. 60% keyboard, most likely. Yeah, 60 or 65, I would say, especially because of the way it stands up like that. It is, Mike, you see it in person. It is super cool. And Thermal Mike just loves to do stuff like this. He loves to make just cool stuff. Although he would word that differently. One of the coolest people I've met in the industry so far. Just like really, really nice guy. And did I tell you, or were you here when I mentioned it? But he reached out to me about the Tower 600, finally, in Future Dusk. He's sending me that. He's like, what color AIO do you want? And I need to figure out whether I want it to be interior components to be in black or in white. Or I think they're making the matching fans in purple. So, like, do I try to get as much purple stuff as possible? That's usually my MO. If I can get something in purple, I do. But I don't know. I have some thinking to do. I need to build one of these ASAP and make it a pre-configured option. That'd be so cool. Absolutely. I'll put you in touch with Thermal Mike if you want. Although I'm sure they have reps for working with SIs. I think y'all will get along, is why I say that. Okay. Let me just give you the link to your build. Now, here's what you need to do, Sakura. I need you to... No, Mike. No, Mikey. No. No. I need you to save that build. So when you click on the link, you probably heard me say this earlier. There's a thing to save your build right here. It'll prompt you to log into your Micro Center account. Just save the build and you're good to go. Log in if you need to. Create an account if you need to. And then I'm going to send you a link for this after I save it. It's silly to save it when there's two things on here, but whatever. I'm doing it anyway. Oh, sorry. Let me capitalize this correctly, which is to not do so. I love the name, by the way. That's a great name. Here you go. And did I leave it as I hope I didn't leave it as privated. Did I? Whatever. There you go. There's a link to your extra components, your power supply, which this looks like a great power supply. I think it's going to be a good option for you. And I do really recommend that you get custom cables made for that. You will get them before February. That's plenty of time for Cable Mod to produce those for you. Can you add the AIO in the second list? Sure. CPU cooler. And there it is. We'll just save that again. I don't think I needed to resave it, but all right, this is a different list with the AIO. There you go. All right. That's going to be sick. That's going to be a super cool build. Listen, jump in the Discord, and when you're done with this build, I want to see it. Like, share it in the and also come back on Tuesday. I should have an answer on the flight case for you. But share that with us in the Rigs channel on the Discord. I want to see this thing when it's done. Guys, I think I might be I was really tired today. I might be lucky tonight. I might be able to call it a little early because I'm tired. I stayed up late to finish a PC to ship it out, and I got it shipped out by the deadline that I'd set for myself. So that's good. What was I doing? I'm getting this, even though it's not going to mean anything because it's going to be erased. There we go. Well, I am happy to help you out with that. So let us know how it turns out. I want to see it. Come back on Tuesday. I'll try to have an answer for you on that, and when they're going to come out with the version of the PCIe Gen 5 riser cable for that case. You might be able to get an aftermarket one and have it work just fine, by the way, once those are more available. Well, just got to check with my friend when he's got some time, since I'm building him an ATX one while I'm there, and I'll bring him along, so it might take a few weeks till I get the parts. Sure thing. I mean, availability is probably going to change with Micro Center, so just keep that in mind. Thanks for the help. I'm lost when it comes to small form factor. I mean, I understand that, and it's no problem. In fact, let's check this out. Hold up a second. Let's go here. Let's check out Cable Mod. Custom PSU cables. I think they carry ASUS ROG power supplies as a pinout they normally use. Now we're in English. Continue to next step. So all I looked for was Cable Mod, and it went right to the custom configurator. Select a brand first, ASUS. Select a model. It is the ROG Loki. ROG Loki 1200 watt 80 plus titanium. 1200 watt titanium. There it is. Just like that. And then what case are you using? Let's see if okay, case is not listed. All they have for the cases are Fantex. Favoritism much? Jeez. So you have a choice. And for SFF, I would recommend ModFlex. Okay. Soft and extremely flexible. Easy to cable manage. Okay. And of course, they have the most important thing is they have the objectively best color in purple. But you're probably just going to go with black, which is fine. So we choose black here. No, I can't do it. Oh, you're choosing the type it is. We're going with ModFlex. Okay. And then you go with Classic or Pro. I don't know the difference, actually. So let's look at Pro. So this is where you would... Nope, purple 100%. I don't have a favorite. I'm not biased at all. No bias over here, honestly. I actually changed my name, the color of my name on Twitch, because a friend of mine, Manly Reviews, who we raid somewhat frequently, was complaining that everyone was choosing purple. Well, it's because everyone has good taste. So I picked my second favorite color, which was cyan, and I was like, there you go. He was like, thank you. So then you basically pick your cables, you do the length of it, all of that. I mean, it really is, as Mikey said, Sick PCs said, you want to get a string, measure out the lengths, and just use a ruler, straighten it out, get a ruler, get your lengths, and you're good to go. Literally all my PC stuff is black or purple except for my keyboard. Well, if it has RGB, and if you believe in yourself, then it can still be purple. Part of it. Like a little bit. I mean, look at our buddy back there. So this is our mascot right here. He's blurry because of, you know, that depth of field. You got to have it, but that bokeh. But yeah. All right, Chris, have a good night. Thanks for hanging out, even though you were very tired. I appreciate that very much. Oh, here we go. There he is. Yep. All purple all the time. RGB is purple, but the keycaps are themed to my name, and the keyboard case is white. Hey, you got to mix it up sometimes. You notice not all my lights are purple? You have to have some contrast. You got to have it. But yeah, I just wanted to go through the cable mod store real quick just to show you that it's pretty simple to get through there. But you're going to want to go with the Pro option so you can put custom cable lengths. And man, for an SFF build, I have been wanting to do that for the longest time. For the longest time, I've been wanting to do that, and I never have. It can be a little pricey. I don't think that's an issue. I think you're good. 10 May, what's going on? Welcome. FGN, Force Gaming Network, earlier said it has 360mm GPU clearance. I don't think that would fit a 5090, but we did see that our GPU is 345mm in length. We are good to go. Talk about it on Tuesday. Sounds good. Sounds awesome. Just to show you, okay, let me show you this last thing here. This is the case that Thermaltake, who is, you know, they're the company that makes the TR100. This is the case that I went crazy over at CES and Compute. CES, I made a video about it and everything. Let me see if they don't have it on the. They do. Look at this. Look at this case. This is Future Dusk. It is a dark metallic purple. And I started out that short by saying Thermaltake just won CES. This is the case Mike's going to be sending me for a build. So chat, let me ask you a question. It fits a 420mm rad. It does. It does. And that's what we're putting in there. Would have taken it if not for the travel issue. That's fair. You would have to ship this thing, and that's scary. Instead of taking it on the airline, you'd have to ship it. Might have to check if that actually fits in my luggage. Would change a lot. It's not the biggest case. It's not massive in any way. In big luggage. Yeah. I mean, what I would do is I would get a big Pelican case, and I have one for production equipment, for filming equipment, lighting, stuff like that. If I just want to put everything in one flight case, I put it in my big Pelican case, and you can custom cut the foam, all of that. But chat, I need y'all's feedback on this. It's just a couple $100, Sakura. Well within range for you. You're good. Yeah, it's a couple $100. You're good. It's not bad at all. You can fit in one Pelican case. You can fit your monitor setup, your keyboard, all your stuff, everything. Yeah. That's how Roby travels with some of his setup when he's going to LAN events. Anyways, chat, I need your input. Do we go? Because I personally like that it is a dark gray interior, but I have seen this built out with white components, and damn, it looks good. But do we go with black internal components or white? I think we need to go with black components inside this one. I think we need to do that. But what do you guys think? I need y'all's feedback on this because I got some decisions to make. If they have like a purple AIO at Thermaltake, I'm going with that. And I think that's what we were waiting on, was the color matched AIO. And if that's the case, I'm going with the purple fans if they have those too. But for the motherboard, the GPU, all that stuff, I think it needs to be black. Even though I do mostly white builds for myself whenever I do them, I think it needs to be black components inside. Midnight theme with a custom loop. Tanmay, I do not have custom loop money. Thermaltake, they're already, I'm not a big channel on YouTube. 5 digits is nice and all, but it's not 6 or 7 digits. Like, they have only so much marketing budget to go around, and that got really smacked in the face many months, like a bunch this year, with all the ups and downs of the tariffs. So the fact that they're sending me this plus their brand new AIO, all that stuff is already a lot for me. Like, I'm happy with that. They do make all that custom loop stuff, and I would love to do that. But do you know how heavy that is when it's done? I have to move this thing and place it places and stuff. I don't want to do that. I don't want to. That sounds like a pain in the butt. I would love to do it, actually. And if he's down for it, I'll leave that ball. I'll leave the ball in Thermal Mike's court, whether he wants to do to provide all that stuff. But then I have to have the GPU. I have to and figure out what block we're going to use. I don't have a 5090 or access to one to do a 5090 in there, which is the only reason I would think of doing a custom loop for a GPU. Is like that one. You don't really need one anymore. I don't know, man. Tame, I'm with you, though. It would be cool. It would be cool. Joe Panico says, I think white would pop more or black and silver would look good. It would. It would. What I wish... There are many reasons. I wish 13th and 14th gen Intel hadn't had the issues that they did. But this is probably the main reason I wish that those issues hadn't happened. Okay, not the main reason, to be fair. Z790 live mixer. This would have popped in there so damn much. Nobody else did anything like this. And there are some people out there who are like, good. To them, I say, all right, you can leave now because I think this is dope. For example, the Millennium Jade from Nissan would look sick on a case. I haven't... What Millennium Jade is a green, sounds like, but is it like a deep, dark green? I remember you showing me this ages ago. The thing is, Tim, PC Works. Last TwitchCon, he was supposed to give me his Z790 live mixer board, and I thought I had a 12900K. I think I actually gave that to my my previous editor. I think I gave him my 12900K because I would rock a 12900K for daily use. It's still a banger. Like in 4K gaming, you're not even going to use 40% of that CPU, 30% of that CPU. I would still rock a 12900K. That can run a 5090, no problem. What I told ASRock when I talked to one of their motherboard designers at Computex last year was like, I love the live mixer, but y'all make AMD GPUs, you need to make a matching GPU to the purple live mixer. And he was like, oh yeah, that would be cool. But I don't think the live mixer sold as much as it should have. My 13900K is still doing great. Well, I'm glad to hear that. You didn't get it at launch, did you? Just woke up and saw that case. First thing popped in my head was Van Gogh Starry Night. Oh yeah, that'd be cool. That would be a cool theme for that. But Joe, I think you're right. White would pop in there. Contrast is important in builds as well. So What is going on with this? Why is it like that? There we go. But see, look at this. Look at how seamless that is. And then you have a gray GPU. I mean, that looks good. This is such a cool case design. Also, having a motherboard with dual USB 3.0 front panel headers is awesome here because you can actually utilize that. Like, this is actually sick for a streaming build too, because you're actually utilizing stuff like that. And there are more motherboards than you think that come with that second USB 3.0 header, and not just the expensive ones. They also have the chassis stand kit in Future Dusk. Oh no, it's just black. It's just black. Unless this is a special piece, I guess, to make that work. But this makes your PC sit like this. Look at that. Look at how freaking cool that is. There's nothing else like this on the market. Alucard, have a good one. Kiss my sass TTV. What's going on? Hello, I'm new to the channel, but I have a tech question. See if you point me in the right direction. Just recently, when I go to open Rust on my PC, 20 minutes, PC shuts off, restarts, CPU temps are good, RAM is optimal speed, and everything's dust free. Kiss my sass TV. You have either a 13th or 14th gen CPU, correct? Intel 13th or 14th gen? 13600K, 14700K, something like that, right? Looks cool but impractical. Perfect for a YouTube set. Cool but impractical. That's YouTube sets in a nutshell. Like, that's what this thing is supposed to sit. It's supposed to do that. I mean, look, I'm going to be taking this thing. It's on hold at the moment because the person designing the frame for this is working on other projects. But I'm going to be taking... Hold on. Let me do this. This Hylian shield right there. I'm going to be taking that and making it into a wall-mounted PC. Not practical, but cool. I have an i9 12900KF. I'm going to be honest. Kiss my sass. I don't know what I can do live to help you out. You play about 20 minutes. PC shuts off, restarts. CPU temps are good. RAM is at optimal speed, and everything's dust-free. So for Rust, how much RAM do you have? Rust can have... I think Rust can have RAM leak, memory leaks. Memory leak issues, if I'm not mistaken. Or it could be PSU. That is true. What GPU and power supply wattage do you have? But this is why troubleshooting live like that, it doesn't work. Because it's going to be just like... It's hard to actually help. 32 gigs, 4800 crucial RAM. Okay, the capacity is fine. The speed is... I mean, there's no... If that's what it's advertised to be, that's not an optimal speed. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's just... That's like JDEC speed right there. Just about. So... Or it is. 3060 Ti. With a 12900 KF. Do you just use your PC for gaming? Out of curiosity. A 3060 Ti is not going to really be drawing too much from a power supply. 360 quench liquid cooling. Okay. All right. So here's the thing about speccing out your PC. If you're mostly gaming, you shouldn't have a more powerful CPU or a higher end CPU than GPU. Your graphics card at any resolution is still the most important component. I don't think that this is causing issues for you or anything, but I mean, the 3060 Ti is an 8 gigs VRAM card. You could be running out of VRAM. What resolution are you playing at? 1080p, 1440p? You might be running out of VRAM. That can cause issues like that. I think that's probably your issue. Good timing on that. That's nice. I played around 2160 to 1080, and same issue, unfortunately. Are there any noises when the PC turns off? Last question, are you connected to a UPS? Like a click, yeah. Did you give us the wattage of your power supply? You didn't say the wattage of your power supply yet. If you're working with like a 550 watt power supply, you're going to run into problems here. Now, the 3060 Ti is not going to have anything like transient power spikes or anything. But yeah, we need to know the wattage of the power supply. That's a question we did ask a while ago. This is why I don't like to troubleshoot stuff in chat because it's a little hard to do this stuff live and get all the information that you need. Troubleshooting is tough. 750. I don't know. It's Gandias. Okay. 80 plus blank. Gamdias. They make budget power supplies. 80 plus bronze. Okay. You might want to swap out the power supply for something that's, you know, more name brand, reputable. Gamdias can be fine, and sometimes it can't be fine. Sometimes it won't be fine. So yeah. So it can be running out of VRAM and also power supply, just having stability issues. You need stable power or your PC's gonna shut down. It's gonna do that to protect itself. So I would swap the power supply probably just to do that for the longevity of the system. But again, when you're talking to someone who's just live on stream, talking about other stuff, whatever, I don't have the PC in front of me, and that's usually what's needed to really troubleshoot something, to test it. I would need a day or two with your PC in order to figure out what's wrong. We can't give you a lot of helpful info. We're just guessing. So you could go out and buy a $150 power supply or something, do all the work to install that thing, swap them out, and end up that wasn't the issue. I will tell you this, incredibly important note. Do not, if it's a modular power supply in there right now, do not just disconnect those cables from the power supply, leave the cables in there and connect them to the other modular power supply. You are 75 to 80% likely to have a fire situation after that. Like to fry everything, best case scenario. Worst case scenario, actual fire. You use the cables that come with the power supply only. There's another reason why it's difficult to help people on stream. Ads. Got to send in my PSU when I'm back in Switzerland. Forgot to do that before I left since mine somehow gave up. Oh, yeah, that does suck. You think a $300 PSU would hold for more than 2 years? Sakura, that's the thing. Things that run electricity through them, when they stop working, they don't take into consideration how much they cost you. Anything that runs electricity through it can stop working. My motto is this. Okay. My motto is this. Everything works. No, I don't need the speed lines right now. God, Mel, you idiot. Okay. Everything works until it doesn't. And you never know when that doesn't is going to happen. Yeah, ad break. Okay. Okay. Kiss my sass. What I was saying was, if you get a new power supply, which regardless of, what am I doing here? That's not what I meant to do. Okay. Sorry. Regardless of, that was the email from Mike. I was just looking at it real quick to see what he was talking about sending over. Regardless of whether your issue is with the power supply, I would swap out that power supply no matter what. I would swap out that power supply no matter what. Oh, it's a Be Quiet power supply? Sakura, that's surprising. Those are pretty good. I mean, any power supply can have problems, though. To be clear, Sass, whenever I'm telling you to swap out your power supply, it's not because brand name power supplies can't have problems. They absolutely can. Just ask Gigabyte, okay? But, you know, what I was saying, though, during the ad was, if you get a new power supply, You do not use the cables. Just because the cables are already routed in your build doesn't mean you unplug. If you have a modular power supply right now, you don't unplug those from the PSU and put them into the new one just because the cables fit, the connectors fit. They're probably pinned out differently, and you can actually have a fire situation, a bad situation. So you use the cables that come with your power supply and nothing else. Dark Power 13, 1,000 watt titanium. Whatever the name of it, whatever the price of it, it can have issues. It can break, Sakura. And I mean, that should be under warranty though. You have warranty on that. Be Quiet has a good warranty. Three years, lucky me. That's not actually a very long warranty for a power supply. That's pretty short. Is it really 3 years for power supplies from Be Quiet? I'm gonna reach out to my Be Quiet rep and give him a piece of my mind if that's what it is. I understand it's definitely a cheaper route to go first because my gut's telling me it's either the PSU or GPU related. So thank you for your time and sorry again. I appreciate you guys helping me out. I mean, Sass, if it is your GPU, you at least have a reason to maybe upgrade your GPU because right now your CPU is much higher tier than your GPU, and that's backwards for a gaming PC. So it could be time. It could be your sign to upgrade your GPU. Something like if it's within budget, a 5070 Ti, something like that would be a huge upgrade for you. But you're going to want to upgrade that power supply regardless. So do that first, okay? It is in Switzerland, or at least that's what they told me on the phone. Okay. Thermaltake Smart White PSUs. Very happy that Gigabyte took their spot. Yeah, they had a rough spot there for a while. My Corsair 1,000 watt power supply came with a 10-year warranty. Yeah, that's the same thing for like Seasonic, things like that. But that could just be a US thing. I don't know what it is outside the US. Looking at 5070 or better. Yep. It's going to come down to the resolution you're gaming at. If you're gaming at 1440p or 1080p, you don't need anything higher than a 5070. If you're going to 4K, 5070 Ti is usually where you want to start. You don't want to do a 5070 for 4K. It doesn't have enough VRAM. I ran into that problem myself while testing it. Unless you lower like your textures, things like that, then it's kind of okay, but not great. Okay. What's going on over here? 31 people over on Twitch. Only 18 in YouTube. Where did all my YouTube people go? But okay. Let's see what we got. Just rated Bastion. We just rated NATO Fett. That was fun. He actually ended up following me. Not everybody that I raid ends up following me after, so that's cool. That's nice of him. What is Liger doing? Oh, who likes when opening Pokemon cards, card packs, or Magic the Gathering? I don't know which one they're doing. Pack Kraken and Yappin is what my buddy Liger Zero is doing. I appreciate that, John Paul Bacon. Thank you. And Tanmay, of course. Yeah. What kind of cards are we talking? It looks like Magic, actually. The official warranty is 3 years. Their website states that they extend the warranty to 10 years as a gesture of goodwill, but this is not an official warranty. Interesting. Interesting. That's why a lot of us prefer to import units for UK. I see. Looks like my buddy Liger Zero is cracking magic packs right now. So why don't we jump over there? If y'all are down with that. It looks like a chill stream, just chatting and cracking packs. I think that's good. Liger's a good friend. We're going to jump over there and it'll be fun. It'll be fun. We're having fun. Okay. But yeah, okay. So we're coming to the end of the Thursday night PC matchmaking stream. We were only able to help out 2 people, but we were able to take our time on both of those, and that was very cool. So that was fun. Now for Sunday, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Sunday, if for those who don't know, I do a gaming stream just on Twitch. I don't do that on YouTube. And this last one went kind of rough because I crashed out over Wind Waker and the controls. So I'll figure out what I'm going to play then. There is a new Metroid ROM hack that came out that was a kind of a big deal. I might want to play that. But I kind of want to play that on my own and like keep playing it. So I don't know. I'll figure out what I'm going to do. Maybe we'll keep on with Minish Cap. But yeah, that's Sunday. Tuesday, we'll be back with more PC matchmaking. Please stick around, Twitch viewers. Twitch chat, stick around with me, please. You get a nice bonus of channel points if you come along for a raid. And it also makes me very happy to be able to share my friends, other streamers, with my community, and maybe find a new favorite streamer. And it makes them happy if they've been streaming for a lot of hours. So Sunday is a day to hate yourself by playing Tarkov. No, thank you. I think I will not do that. In French, says Zaccardo 92i. Your first time chat is simply to say in French. How do I say we're gonna raid my buddy Liger Zero in French? Je ne sais pas. I don't know. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I really don't speak much French. Un petit peu. That's it. You know, I got nothing for you. I'm sorry. Well, sorry. Hello. Have a good day. You too. Hey, we're gonna go raid a good friend of mine. They're opening Magic Gathering packs. That's fun. Let's go say hi and say something nice. Even if you're done for the evening, you can say something nice to them. Maybe drop a follow for them. Liger Zero is absolutely awesome. A wonderful streamer. And I think that you guys would really enjoy hanging out whenever I'm not streaming, whenever they are. So I study linguistics, and French is one of the official languages in Switzerland. Magnifique. Very nice. My mom speaks 7 languages and is Belgian, directly from Belgium. Taught me English. And I learned Spanish on my own. Taught me English. Why not tell me your mother language? Although, to be fair, she could have taught me Flemish as a joke. Apparently, she doesn't like Flemish very much. It's French or Flemish in Belgium, for those who don't know. It's one of the two. So, it's for my French speakers out there. That's a little joke for you, okay? Also, my father came over from Germany, directly from Germany. Spoke 9 languages. Taught me English. Now, nobody from the French-speaking part does. I think that's why they're from the French-speaking part. That's probably something to do with that. I've never been to Belgium. I really want to go there. Lagari, konnichiwa. We're doing non-native languages. Yeah, I love this. I have little dollops of different languages because I just naturally pick up stuff. So, yeah, I really need to just Duolingo it up or get Rosetta Stone. I love languages. I just never studied. I passed high school French just because I could do a good accent. That was it. I grew up with 6 languages and learned a few more. That is awesome, Sakura. That is very cool. That is very, very cool. Yeah, language is the best. And one of one thing, if I leave y'all with one thought tonight, it is this. There is currently, for those who live here in the US, there is a climate of xenophobia, fear of other cultures, and a desire for isolation from some parts of the country. That is not everybody by any means. As a matter of fact, the majority does not agree with this. But it is still what that misses out on, what that ignores, is that sharing of your culture is the greatest gift you can give anyone. The second greatest gift is accepting and appreciating that culture with an open mind and open heart. So that's the thought I would leave you with tonight. Is to not be afraid of other cultures, because they're literally people. You are also a people. So, and besides, that's where all the good food is, by the way. Reason why I'm in the U.S. is for my degree. They told me I got to go to a different country for 6 months, so here I am. I agree. That's why I love to travel. Well, we are lucky to have you here, and I hope that you enjoy your stay. And hey, look at that. Love for PC gaming is universal, right? We're all PC nerds here. We're all. You know, that's the whole "Let's Go Nerds" thing is a unifying thing. That is what that's about. So, yes, okay. That's going to be it for tonight, guys, though. I appreciate y'all. Let me start up this raid to my buddy Liger0. And please, if you have, share some kind words with my friend there. Maybe drop a follow, because you will always have fun in Liger's stream. You have the Braethorn seal of approval and guarantee. So I hope y'all enjoy that, and I will catch y'all on Sunday for some gaming time. Finally get to relax, play some games with you guys, and I'm looking forward to that. 8 p.m. around 8 p.m. Central, and I'll see you then. Until then, take care.
Let's go, nerds!